All right. Hello, everyone. Got a few people around, hopefully. So, we're live tonight, actually, with a sort of later on restream. So this match actually happened last week, but there was a time conflict with another race that was already happening. So, we have this for you now. I have with me here inanepyro, and while I know the result of this match, I will be making sure not to say it. And inanepyro is unspoiled, so some of you may know, but don't spoil anyone in the chat. Let's have fun. Pretend it's a live race, even though it definitely isn't. But yeah, so welcome in, and Pyro, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, go ahead.
Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. Thank you for joining us on a Friday night scaretacular, where we hope to see the Mountain of Woe for thematic reasons. I'm inanepyro, Pyro for short, he, him. Looks like we're getting kicked off here, and I can't wait to see it.
Yep, so we have about a minute, because I trimmed the videos earlier. It's exactly a minute, in fact, to introduce what's going on here. So for those of you who don't already know what you're watching, this is a match from round 1 of our Catalack Cup, which is a tournament that's currently going on. Our flags for this are sort of race flags plus a couple of things. So we have boss randomization on, and we have a newer thing called boss spot HP, which means that the HP of each boss is set by the spot that they appear in, rather than sort of more arbitrary scaling. That's so that runners are able to expect how much HP they're going to have in a given slot. We also have on gear randomization and healing item randomization. So gear randomization shuffles around like the effects that are on weapons and armor and some accessories, where healing item randomization starts off. Sorry, I forgot to start the timer. Healing item randomization changes around the values for the healing items. So tonics, mid-tonics, full tonics, ethers, mid-ethers, full ethers, and lapises can all roll higher or lower than what they otherwise normally would. So yeah, it should be an interesting thing. We're starting out here with Robo and Magus. So
This is the no magic start, or no magic unlock start, I should say.
yes.
Just missing an Ayla.
Yes, we'll see if she pops up, or who knows, maybe there'll be an early gate key. Like I said, I watched this and I remember who wins, but I don't remember much else about this, so I'm basically unspoiled as far as the interesting bits. Looks like we have...
It's hard to tell who's in the lead at the beginning here. We got a shop check from Mirshana. I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I think that's right, anyway.
And Aku is going up Denadora right away?
My guess is that Aku is just grinding here, for those first couple of levels and techs. He often likes this spot, and when you have Magus in the party, it can be a good one. Some runners like to have both Magus and Ayla as the strongest attackers to be able to really take these things out quickly, but, when you can take this fight out quickly, it's a great starting point, because it will give you everything you need right away, basically. You only have to do the one fight, and it'll give you the first 2 techs and a bunch of levels. Though Magus is also the exception to that. Magus's first tech takes quite a bit longer to actually learn, so yeah, looking at that, he hasn't learned anything on Magus yet, but Robo there did learn Shock and Laser Spin. Yeah, so that's definitely nice. Laser Spin is not very strong, but it could clear the Cathedral fight probably, and Shock definitely good. So, I'm sure.
Yeah, Laser Spin's just a little more MP-friendly screen clear on these earlier fights. Not for the Sunken Desert, though.
Yes, indeed.
I see a lot of running here.
Yeah, probably he's diving down here for some gear. And yeah, Lord Batsy pointing out in chat that Laser Spin goes into a lot of important multiple techs, double and triple techs, and so you want to have it for that, for sure. This is, in fact, 2/3 of Team Black Rock, which is, or Team Blue Rock, actually. Sorry. And
Black Rock is Magus and the girls.
Yes, it is. Where Blue Rock is what I was thinking of with Omega Flare, which is these two plus Luca. So see how that goes. Looks like Mirshana checked the Lazy Carpenter and found the Prism Shard there. We don't have Marl yet, but that could come into play.
So yeah, we're going to snail stop check here on Mirshana's side as well.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Gate key. That's an instant buy for any... Yep. Is it yet? What?
May not have the money, but I'm guessing that the goal will be get the money and then go buy that, because, yeah, early gate key is very valuable. Lets you unlock magic for... Well, not for this party, I guess, but it still opens things up quickly. It means that whoever you pick up third, unless it's Ayla, you've immediately got the option to open up magic, and it opens up Mount Woe, as you were hoping for.
Right, for Mount Woe, they'd also go to Dinosaur Time and beat their way through Tyrannus, or Jungle Roads.
No, so, that's something that changed recently, or semi-recently anyway. 3.1.1 changed it so that once you get to the end of time, the portal to 12,000 BC is already open. But the skyways that let you get up into Zeal, to like where the new shop is and where all of that stuff is, those stay closed until you either beat Tyranno or Magus' Castle. But yeah, if you get the gate key and go to the end of time, or if you go through the factory, in the future, after getting the pendant and go to the end of time, you're able to take the epic directly to 12,000 BC and go into Mount Woe, which is a change that we made so that it would be a little bit more likely that people would actually go to Mount Woe, because otherwise, otherwise it was like, well, you only go there if you need to.
I was seeing more Woe plays in this tournament, and yeah, thank you for elucidating.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good change, I think, because it meant that you couldn't have, like, you couldn't have it required that you go through Tyranno and then do Mount Woe to get the other go modes, which was sort of a weird thing that could happen before. It means Mount Woe comes up a lot more, which is cool because it's an interesting thing to look at, and it's got some good gear, which is a fun thing.
Good gear, and if you need the tech points, you can take those boulder fights and gamble.
It's true.
Which I do casually because I just like seeing 100 tech points in one fight.
Yeah, no, that's true, and actually even some of the other fights up on Mount Woe are pretty good as far as TP and XP. I don't remember exactly which one, but Pseudoark, one of our developers, has been talking recently about how some of the other fights on there are actually quite good for that. You don't even need to be taking the Rebels to get some great XP and TP up on Mount Woe. No. Yep, looks like Aku did go directly to the past, got that gate key, and
is going to end of time right now while we have Mirshana going up Doro. Maybe just for grinding like Aku did.
Yeah, possibly. I didn't see if Mirshana did any other grind fight, but I feel like I might have noticed. So probably that's the same idea here.
I might miss too, but I think she was just running around doing the regular non-fighty checks.
Yeah, getting all those early, Carpenter and all that stuff. That is why our runners both have 2 key items. Yeah, Aku is clarifying in chat that the gargoyle things are good and the birds are good too if you don't mind hitting them twice, referring to those Mount Woe enemies that can be pretty good for getting some stuff early. We see that Aku went to the past here, and he's now heading up to Dactyl Nest, which can be a fun early gate key play. The character that's at the top of Dactyl Nest is level 15 right away, and they start with, I think, 3 techs. So when you do get an early gate key, if you've got the skips and the capability to go up Dactyl Nest, it can be a good way to get a third character who's a little bit more powerful. At the same time, we see Mirshana going for the usual strategy of going into the front of the cathedral to get a third character here.
Yeah, I like that play because it's pretty quick. It's one fight, a cutscene, boom, third hero. This trek up Dactyl is going to be a little painful with 2 characters.
Yeah, no, it's true. I know Aku's usually pretty good at skips, so that might be part of why he's going for this, because if you can miss a lot of those fights on Dactyl, then it's a little bit less painful, obviously, to go up there.
Chrono in the cathedral.
All right, so could be good as long as you can find him a weapon that isn't the terrible wood sword he starts with.
If we go to the future, hopefully someone can free fits or let them rot. It's up to them.
Yep.
What armor they want.
We shall see. And Aku misses that one skip there. But he'll probably just run from this fight. This low a level, it's really not usually going to be worth it to stick around. And actually, you can see him holding down LNR.
Oh, that's nice. He has his little commands down there.
Yeah, some runners leave that on. It can be nice to confirm assumptions about things like running, though. Usually it's pretty easy to to tell what someone's doing anyway, if they haven't put in any inputs right away for getting out of there. Here's Aku trying for that other skip, and this time he gets it, so...
That's a real hard one. I've seen the breakdown of that. You have to be pixel perfect.
Yeah, it's very close. And Marl is up here, which is interesting, especially with that Prism Shard. So that could mean that going through the King's Trial to get some items is something that these runners might do. Marl on
Doctor 13 spot is still pretty hard, even especially with a team this under leveled.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them necessarily to go right away, but does mean that they have access to the Prism Shard quest pretty early since they had such an early gate key. So it's possible that our runners will go, oh, well, the seed's giving me the stuff early. That must mean I need to go there.
Always listen to what the seed's telling you.
Indeed, yes. And Aku is heading to Specchio to unlock magic for, well, just Marl, but still worth doing. Especially this Marl started with 3 techs, so you wouldn't be able to learn anything else unless you unlock magic first. I haven't seen what techs Chrono and Marl have.
Chrono, it seemed like it was Lightning 2 on Mirshana's side. It wasn't unlocked yet, but that was the first tech in the queue.
Alright.
Which is a great tech to have off the bat. It's a nice screen clear for a lot of rooms. You're set. And only 8 MP.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. Maybe Aku will open his menu and we can see what Marl has. Marl only has a few techs that are super useful. Ice 2 is probably the most important of them. Got increased chances of her having it since we picked her up with 3 techs.
Ice 2 and Haste would be a great starter kit for any runner.
Yeah, it's definitely true. The other one that a lot of people like is Re-Race, which is actually another somewhat newer thing that you might or might not be aware of, but it replaced Cure 1, and it gives you basically the Green Dream effect. So you can cast it on a party.
Previously, that was available with the triple tech Lifeline, correct?
Yes, so it's still available with Lifeline, and it's still available with a Green Dream accessory that can be equipped, but this has it as a tech instead. And that's been a fun strategy for some people, especially some extra safety if you're going in something under-leveled, that kind of thing. So. Yep, and there's Aku dropping off the Prism Shard at least. I don't know if he'll go immediately and do it, or if he's just getting some checks out of the way, set up.
Yeah, that trip to Xenon Bridge makes you think he's probably going to go check the jerky. Or the chef's jerky, not the other jerky.
Yes. And yeah, Aku's saying in chat exactly what I was saying, which is just dropping off the Prism Shard before starting the bridge. Yeah, this is sort of fun with the later on stream we can hear directly from our runners what they were thinking. Oh, and Aku's actually going to the cathedral as well, so he's probably going to pick up Chrono, probably pick up the Naga Bromide, that in Jets produces 3 checks.
No bow, whereas Mirshana is doing the full cathedral trying to get that 4th character.
Yeah, it does look like that.
I wonder if that's partially for the levels, just analysis to get more team variety before diving down, getting that snail stop gate key and going past the character and seeing where the seed takes them. Because there's no other key item checks in here, it's just getting a character.
It's just a character, but the other thing to mention is that, right now Mirshana only has one of the 3 characters who can lock in progress, right? So Robo you need in order to do the desert. Marl, which we know is on Dactyl, but Mirshana doesn't, blocks the Prism Shard quest, and Frog is necessary for Magus Castle Go mode. So it could be that Mirshana is sort of saying, well, I don't have any of those characters, I'd kind of like someone new, so, maybe I'll get someone I can use, like Luca is often a favored one, or maybe I'll get something that's gonna let me go quickly, especially with that Prism Shard, once again. So, wondering if that's what she's thinking.
If you get Frog, then you're only 2 items away from a Go mode, even though it's arguably the slowest, it would be fitting for a near Halloween stream.
Indeed.
Castle.
Nice and spooky. Yeah, and here's Mirshana in chat saying that she was wanting some money as well for the gate key. So that makes some sense. Run through this, get a little bit of money from the boss and from the other enemies. Maybe from something that's on whoever the fourth character is, if you want to sell something that someone comes with. Gets you that money to get that 9,900 gold to buy that gate key. Oh, and here's Aku back at Vecchio again to unlock magic for Chrono.
He just went straight for it, and we have regular slash on Mirshana's side. That means these magic attacks probably aren't the best thing because he has an increased magic defense.
Yeah,
Slash plus.
it's true. Yeah, Super Slash is actually the less strong one because you fight him in vanilla in a combination battle. This could be a very quick battle because this spot is very low HP. This Slash will have 920 HP exactly, which we know because of the boss spot HP flag being on.
Yeah, those lightning 2s only do 60 damage, and I think I saw the regular attack do 66, not even a crit.
Yeah, looks like Mirshana is through nonetheless, but yeah, I think you're right that magic attacks were possibly not the easiest. Yes. Spin cut and
I just missed the menu on Aku's side. I was gonna look for some Marl's text.
Ah, darn. I might see if I can re-find the spoiler log for this so that I can look up information like this.
Information on demand.
Yes, okay, looks like I do have it. Okay, so it looks like Marl's first 3 techs were Haste, Provoke, and Cure 2, with Life 2 up next. So not everything you want right at the start.
But Ice 2 is key. That'll be more than enough to get you through Heckran Cave.
Yeah, probably that's what Aku's hoping for here, is using the others' screen clears to get through here and hopefully get enough tech points to get Ice 2. We will see.
Mirshana's got the frog!
Alright, so yeah, if we do end up...
Mirshana.
Yep. So this will put Mirshana in good place if Magus Castle does end up being a quick go mode for these runners.
It is good to have in the back pocket because, you stumble across a Grand Leon, suddenly Frog's not that bad.
Yeah.
Character to bring around. And 2 go mode pieces instead of 3 makes it a bit easier compared to the other routes.
Yeah, for sure. Nope, looks like Mirshana is doing the typical thing, has just left the castle, is making a save, and probably going right back in to do Xenon Bridge. So I think we haven't seen what item is on Xenon Bridge yet, because Aku decided to go for the Cathedral and then into Heckran Cave.
Right, he set it up so whenever he wants to, he can come and do this, but Mirshana is about to let us know as Aku dives deeper into Heckran.
Yep.
You have to wait for this second cut box to appear, a text box, or else the check doesn't always work.
Yep, it'll wait for pipe down, what do you know, and let for it disappear, and then you can check. Alright, we've got a Moonstone. So, wow. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. With the Prism Shard already here, maybe Mirshana will actually go for this, just because it sort of seems like the seed is telling you to keep this, basically.
Because that's some high-end gear at the end of that. If you have that in your inventory when you finish the Rainbow Shard quest.
So in Jets, it's actually a key item. So Tabin will give you gear. However, Tabin gives you gear. I believe the 2 spots are just. There's 2 spots. You'll get a weapon if you forge the Masamune, for Magus Castle Go mode, and you also get a helmet when you've charged up the Sunstone. So that can be valuable. Of course, our runners will need to find the pendant before they would be able to charge up the Moonstone. But It also makes doing the King's Trial a little bit more valuable, because it basically means you're getting 2 key items out of it instead of 1, which sometimes can be your whole go mode, you know, if you've already got Gate Key and Pendant, which you would if you're doing Moonstone. That can be your whole go mode right there.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We got Mirshana battling away from the bridge. You can just hit Ozzy enough and it'll just be like, fine, move on.
Yeah.
I always like that. Ozzy is the worst. I would not have him in my army.
Yeah, he's not an ideal strategist here. Oh, and Aku has just learned Lifeline, with Marl getting, I think, Life 2 was the third part of that he didn't have yet. So maybe we'll see some Lifeline strikes.
Lifelines I've ever seen. 18 minutes in.
Yep. And yeah, Lord Batsy is pointing out in chat correctly that the Moonstone is a bit of a risk, but the Pendant is usually not very varied. You know, it's of course possible.
It gates a lot of other checks, so it needs to appear sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you know, it can get pretty varied, you know, that all of the arrangements are possible, in theory, but many more of them are that work are gonna have the Pendant early just because of how many checks it does unlock. So. Yep, and it looks like we have Nizbal 2 on the bridge. And Hecarim is in his cave, as usual.
Boring Hecarim cave, but at least you know what you're in for.
Indeed. And Aku does have some decent magic between Shock and Lightning 2. Marl's probably not going to contribute much here, but can throw potions at things or cast Haste, as Aku is doing. Make it go a little bit faster. Lightning also valuable for Mirshana here, lowering Nizbal 2's defense with a shock in order to be able to use some physical text, which is valuable with Robo in the party and with Magus in the party, sort of early on here. The other strategy for Nizbal, of course, is to just hit him with as much magic as you can, because you don't have to lower the defense first to do that.
Right. And Nizbal 2 will still do that big discharge attack, so you gotta have your health up before that comes.
Yeah, we're seeing it now. Will be scaled down here. Yeah, so...
Oh, that's easy. There's like 60 damage.
Yeah, no, So we have the boss spot HP flag on, so the HPs are determined by the spots, but the other stats in Boss Rando are scaled by sort of an expected level when you would normally hit the fight. And this Xenon Bridge fight is the second lowest. The only one that's lower is the Cathedral spot. So all of Nizbal 2's stats here will have been scaled down in order to make it more palatable, I guess, or more on par with what Zombor would normally be here. I believe the level it's calibrated for is actually just level 5 for this spot.
That's pretty forgiving then, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Yakra spot, anyway, the Cathedral spot is scaled for 1. I believe this one's 5. Maybe it's 8. One of those. And then you start getting, like, 8 might be Hecarim Cave, and then I think Denadoro is 12. Once you get to some of the later checks, a lot of them are more like 14 or 15 in the future and in the past.
That's a bit scaled down from vanilla game, isn't it? Forgiving.
Yeah, I think it might be. You know, Jets is all sort of scaled down a little bit. You know, you get better gear earlier and all of that, but it's designed so that you can defeat Lavos at about level 30, so sort of everything scales down a little bit. Yep.
Go fast.
Yes. We don't want to be here all night when we run these streams. We appreciate that it takes, you know, under 3 hours, generally speaking.
It's like a standard sporting event.
Exactly. Alright, so here's Mirshana presumably selling whatever she can so that she can pick up that gate key and go into the past and do whatever. Unlock magic, at least. We'll see if...
That dark scythe, that pays for the whole thing right there.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. One thing that will be happening pretty soon, actually, with the tournament, for the top 8, the flags are changing. So two things are changing. One is that these early seeds have free menu glitch on, which increases the time you have for the menu glitches between Zeal 1 and Mammon Machine, and between Lavos 2 and Lavos 3. And that'll be turning off for the top 8 of the tournament, which will be starting next week. But we're also upgrading the difficulty to have hard items set. One of the interesting things about that is that you start with half as much money. So you only start with 10,000 gold in that, which means if you want the snail stop item, you have to run around and get more stuff, or you have to forego getting your groceries early in the game.
And we got a broken sword, bent sword on Aku's side, and he pet the cat.
He's pet the cat.
In his race.
Yes. This is after all the Catalack Cups, so it's important to pet the cat.
Now, I wasn't going to say anyone's in the lead up until now, but that Aku clearly pulled in the lead with that cat pet.
The cat, yeah, first to pet the cat.
It's been a consistent trend in this tournament, is that no one who has won has not pet the cat.
Yes, I think we've had a few races where both runners have pet the cat, but if you don't pet the cat, you haven't won, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Alright, and Aku is going for the Prism Shard.
And Mirshana's probably gonna go down to Dactyl Nest, probably stop off and activate magic on her Frog and Chrono. Nope.
Maybe just get in the chest, yeah. Yeah, we'll see if...
We're gonna back to time, whatever.
Yep.
End of time.
End of time, exactly, yeah. We'll see if Mirshana decides to go to Dactyl Nest. She has a decent number of characters here. If she decides that it's a good thing to go for right away because of the possibility of Marl being there, then she might end up on sort of a similar path that Aku's on, but she might also say, oh, well, I've got 4 characters already, might as well do some other checks first. So we'll see.
Nothing really crazy open right now for I mean, where's she going? She's going in? Okay, back to prehistory.
Mirshana explaining grabbing that chest there in the Mystic Mountains is she always gets it so that when it's a Chronosanity run, she won't forget it, which totally makes sense. It's so easy to forget that one if you're used to just running back around up to go to the end of time. I miss it, and as you predicted, Mirshana looks to be running up Dactyl Nest, and we'll end up with Marl at the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might put her onto the trial, but we'll see how she diverges.
Yep. Not amazing treasure down there in the bottom of the trial. Full ethers and a red
some
mail.
Pretty good loot down there. I've seen prison specs in those chests.
Yeah, it's true. That red mail could be valuable. It was a red mail plus. Suppose I can briefly explain what that means. So in Gear Rando, we end up with when weapon, armor, and accessory effects are changed, they'll end up with either a plus, a minus, or a question mark at the end of their name. A plus basically means it's definitely better, so, either it's kept one of its effect and added a new one when it didn't have one before, or it didn't have something and it got an effect. A minus means that it's, strictly worse, so it's gotten something that's a lesser effect, or, has lost an effect, and a question mark is for the ones where it might be better, might be worse. Normally that's when you've replaced one effect with another effect that's not directly comparable. So, if you replace speed +1 with power +2, that's going to end up as a question mark, because...
Right, depending on how you're playing, it might be good or bad.
Yeah.
And the game can't decide that yet. We'll have an AI in there.
Yes, for now it's just what's strictly better, strictly worse. We don't have any, editorial options there. So, yep, here's Mirshana getting Marl. Made it up there pretty quickly, I think. I wasn't watching super closely, but I do think she got at least one of those skips. And she's a little bit higher level going into this, so she wouldn't have had as many people falling over as Aku was running in here early.
Right, but she was still running away from fights that she couldn't skip.
Yeah, for sure. And, I don't think Dactyl Nest is really any sort of grinding spot, so, makes sense.
I love that part on Aku's side when Marl busts out of the cathedral window.
Yes, I know. I
get
get.
treasure.
Yes, I guess that, your dad being on trial as the king of the realm is maybe worth breaking the priceless stained glass, but it always feels a little like, wow, going to extreme lengths here, huh?
And another super slash. Okay, so we have slash on Xena and super slash in the courtroom.
Yeah, and, I guess Aku didn't finish the cathedral, so he doesn't know that regular slash was there, but at this point in the game, we couldn't have a duplicate. So if Mirshana then later goes here, she will know going in that this is super slash even before the text comes up, with one exception, which is that the twin boss in Ocean Palace can be a duplicate of an earlier boss in Rando.
Yeah, and that's like a very... All this boss shopping has got to be very tricky for the coders. However they make it work, I'm just happy it works.
Yes. And yeah, Mirshana confirmed in chat there that she doesn't have those, pixel perfect, frame perfect skips, so just takes the fights as fast as possible and run away as fast as possible. Valid strategy, as long as you don't have it. It might be faster to do that than to try and fail to get the skips.
And with 3 characters, there's not a lot they can do to knock your team out before you run away.
Yeah, they're usually only going to get, 1 attack, maybe 2 off, before you can get out of the battle.
And we got Aku using a lifeline, it looks like.
Yep, looks like. Maybe not completely sure. Yeah, if he's not sure about his ability to survive some of these things, Robo just went down.
Robo.
Yep, perfect. And I believe the amount of HP that you get from the Green Dream, from Lifeline, and from Re-Raise is actually based on the character who's being revived's magic stat. So that 80 HP that Robo got is based on Robo's magic stat.
Huh. It's like they're casting life on themselves.
Yeah, effectively. I think it is actually equivalent to Life 1, like Chrono's life that you get from that. Right, Mirshana is dropping off that Moonstone. Doesn't have the pendant yet, but that means that once she does go to the future, it's nice and fast to just run over and grab it. Makes things easier. I don't remember exactly.
Vanilla, you need a jerky to complete the Moonstone quest.
Yes, that's true. That used to be true in Jets as well, but the Moonstone quest was becoming way too much of a pariah. So everyone removed that, and the jerky just gives you an item in Jets at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a good quality life improvement.
Yes, for sure. People still hate doing the Moonstone, and there's a little bit of talk about maybe in a future version making it a little bit easier to do the Prism Shard Moonstone stuff to possibly make those something that people do a little bit more readily. And yes, Mirshana says, Hecarim Cave grinding. Perfectly reasonable thing to do. You just unlocked magic, want to get a few techs. Hecarim Cave is a great place to get some early TP.
Yeah, especially with TP hungry Magus over here.
Indeed. This is often the best way.
Those first tech moves.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of them, well, actually, no, Aku ditched Magus for this.
Yeah, so we might not have seen it yet. It looks like his first tech is Lightning 2, which we would have been able to see from someone's menu at some point, probably.
The versatile mage, Magus.
Yep.
No double touch with anybody, though.
It's true. And unfortunately, all of his Lightning 2, Fire 2, Ice 2 are actually significantly weaker than their equivalents on other characters, but especially early on, he can be pretty valuable just because he's got a lot of that diversity, and starts with some pretty good equipment.
If you know an opponent's elemental weakness, he probably has it, so... And if otherwise, you just blast him with Shadow and call it a day.
Yep. Right, so I guess I had missed it when he got it, but Aku must have gotten that hero medal from the Prism Shard quest. And probably after healing here, he will go run over and check that, since it's effectively a free check. Once you've already got the key item, you don't have to fight a boss or anything to check what's behind it.
Easiest fetch quest, and you get information on who's down there, just in case you want to know.
Yep, indeed.
We we already... Oh, well, Aku doesn't know where Frog is, so it doesn't help him much.
Yeah, Gosh, he got that bent sword. Oh, the bent sword was from Hecarim. So, Mirshana's about to have that and be 2/3 of the way to go mode. I bet at this point, if Aku were to get both parts of the blade, he'd probably say, okay, well, I didn't finish Cathedral. It's going to be fast now, and he's fighting the new, too. Look at that.
That's me.
Yep. A fun fact about this new, that some may know and some may not, is that there's actually two kinds of new enemies in the game. One type of enemy only does 1 HP of damage with its attacks, and the other type only does everything but 1 HP. And the one here actually can't kill you, because it's the second type. So, the new who's here in this forest can only ever take you to 1 HP.
So it's very scary if you have the other enemies on the board, because they don't care about your
Yeah.
HP, they'll do whatever they do.
Yeah, exactly. If the new weakens you, then the others can take you out, but new by itself is entirely toothless in this spot.
That is a good chunk of tech points for an early fight, too. 34.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
get
true.
you where you're going.
Yeah, and we did see that Chrono got Lightning 1, which is not super useful, but at least opens up another tech that he can learn next.
We got Ayla in the burrow. Little far away from home.
Yep, and the jerky in there, so we'll see if Aku decides to go drop that off and pick up the item, or just drop it off and pick up the item later.
Right, because it's just a high-quality item. That's all it gives you now.
Yeah, it's a very high-tier slot, and Aku could be considering this more valuable than he might otherwise, because a lot of the things that are in that slot are actually chrono weapons. There's rainbows, there's slasher 2s, there's swallows, there's a better than average chance of getting a weapon for chrono specifically from this check. But we'll see.
Let's see if that holds true. The wall helm. Oh,
Wall helm plus. Yeah, so that is a
does it have a protector shell on it?
Let's see, that one I am forgetting. So that has barrier on it. And the plus is because it also has the power seal effect of power and stamina plus 10. That is actually the haste helm that has been randomized, hence the name that doesn't otherwise appear in the game. So the name changes.
I was like, I don't know that one, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so, obviously if it loses haste, it's no longer the haste helm. So we changed the name. I think it can be wall helm, it can be shield helm, it can be immune helm if it rolls protect all, and it can be the waste helm if it rolls no effect.
But it's still a high tier helm, so even though it's a waste, it's still good protection.
Yes, exactly. It is still a pretty good helm. 35 is its defense. And yeah, Batsy pointing out. Oh, yep. Lord Batsy pointing out in chat that you can still get the Waste Helm Plus, which, like this one, for example, is the Wall Helm Plus because it has not only that barrier effect, but power and stamina plus 10. So you can still get a Waste Helm Plus that has a boost to some stats, even though it doesn't have, haste or barrier or anything like that.
So essentially, with this gear rando, you could end up with almost double the gear, essentially. Because there's a power seal effect on that helm. You could add a power seal or whatever other accessory you want. So the combinations are a little nuts.
Yeah, you can definitely get stuff very powerful. One thing that this does, too, is that the rocks, the triple tech rocks, can actually roll effects as well. So if you're really lucky, you can get something like a blue rock that also has the prism specs effect on it, which can make for some very powerful.
They can't lose their triple tech unlocking thing, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they always keep the triple tech part, but they can roll another effect.
That's always fun. Mirshana got her bent sword. I didn't see if she pet the cat. See if she does on the way out.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit easier on the way out because the cat comes right to you. But there we go. I'm pretty sure that was a cat pet. So Mirshana has also pet the cat. Both of our runners are eligible to win, but Aku got there first. We'll see. See if that plays out. And Aku is going through Xenon Bridge to get that Moonstone. They still don't have the pendant.
Since he did the trial already, can he just go to Melchior for that key item?
So no, he can't go right away because you do need to still charge up the Sunstone. So you still have to drop the Sunstone in prehistory and then go up to the future 2300 AD and grab it, and then you can go to Melchior for the key item and to Tabin for that free helmet. But yeah, they will need to find the pendant and go to the future before either of our runners will have that option.
He's exactly 65,002,000 and so
2,300? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 65,002,300 is just enough time.
Yes. 65,001,000, not enough. But add that extra 1,300. Totally makes the difference. So Mirshana didn't give too much of a chance. If you wait in that room or reset it a few times, you can sometimes get what we affectionately call a secret tunnel, which is you can get those evil weevils to dig in other places, and the other routes will have pretty high tier chests in them. So some runners will wait for a little bit to see if they can get that or reset the room. It looks like Mirshana is just gonna head straight for it, try to get that key item.
Yeah, I don't blame her. You know, at this point, just like, I need to get these key items. I don't know what my opponent's doing. This seat's kind of a little all over the place.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're here earlier, maybe I can see waiting for a secret tunnel. Do we call it that because of Avatar?
That's pretty much why we call it that, yeah.
Let's make it sure.
Yes, one of our prominent runners, Azure Kale, has a sound alert, actually, for the Secret Tunnel song that we often play right when he comes here.
Oh, he will.
Indeed.
Ms. Bell 2 over on Aku's side, probably going to be a cakewalk with all the levels he's got.
Yeah, this is still that same, level 5 slot with a little over 2,000 HP, and it's already down because...
I could have sworn he just did the one ice sword and it was over.
He might have done 2, but...
Yeah.
It wasn't much.
Blink and you'll miss it.
Yep. And Mirshana actually got a blackmail down here in this common area. It's actually... These are a lower tier of chest than the secret tunnels, but a blackmail can be a pretty good pickup, actually, especially if you end up going some route that has a big shadow attack. It'll hit you if you roll Magus with the normal Magus, or if you're going Zeal or something like that.
Let's see. Blue mail is going to help you with the Zeal fight. Red mail for Son of Sun and other... There's plenty of fire bosses.
Yep.
Is there really a lot of shadow out there other than Magus, or Vanilla Magus and Castle?
The other one that I can really think of is some of Zeal's like point attacks, like the like lasery things. Those are also shadow damage.
Yeah.
So sometimes runners will, if you put on a blackmail and a mermaid cap, then you're absorbing both shadow and water, and Zeal can hit you with lightning, but that's about it. So you'll often see runners, split around those different options, trying to cover a few bases.
Okay, we got Golem in the desert. We do have Robo to finish this check, so it's a good play. Golem's a little tricky.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like normally the strategy for Golem that runners will use is they'll try to have Golem set to fire or water when it gets its turn. And the reason for that is that the script for Golem, those are the nicest ones to have, because the first time it does that, it only does Fire 1 and Ice 1, where the Shadow one can hit you pretty hard. The Physical one is half HP, which won't kill you, but obviously
It sets you up for his next attack to finish off.
Yeah, for sure. And often the goal is to try to keep switching him so that he's always starting that script over, because after he does Fire 1 and Ice 1, he might then go on to do the spread attacks, which are a lot more dangerous.
So basically have other two characters do their strongest dual attack, then Luke can cast Flare and rinse and repeat.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do you can do it with Ice or Fire. So having Marl
I know,
here worked.
We don't have to pretend. Everyone here loves Luca.
It's true. Luca is certainly beloved. Pairs well with just about anybody. And Aku is through that golem fight.
Pretty easily. Yeah.
Yep.
Gonna pick up these last couple chests here.
Yep, and that power tab that appears after you go through.
There might have been a weapon upgrade from Marl, but he might already have something better for her. I thought I saw a dream bow.
Yeah, I think that was a Dreambow Plus that he just picked up. Let's see. I wonder what rolled on that Dreambow Plus. So the Dreambow Plus rolled Magic plus 4, looks like.
That's a great bow for Marl then.
Yeah, certainly. You don't really want Marl to be attacking stuff by hand, by and large, but she certainly uses magic. So...
Yeah, I know casually it's nice to have your auto attacks hit for a good bit. But yeah, in Jets you don't see her really attacking much unless you're out of ethers for some reason.
Yeah, or, oh, I know that this boss only has like 30 HP left and she's the one who got her turn first,
The snipe shot.
Exactly. Alright, and we'll see what the item, Ruby Knife.
Ruby Knife! Oh, okay, we're a Dreamstone away.
Yeah, so we're Dreamstone away from that, and so we have...
Ocean Palace go mode for Aku if you can find it.
Yep, and nothing yet for Black Omen go mode. Looks like we have Son of Sun in the back of Reptite Lair here.
These boss fight animations when they're not in the right, a new spot are pretty funny.
They can be pretty entertaining, indeed.
You see the eye just sort of creep out hey guys, what's up?
What's up? Yep. It's fun sometimes when Retinite, the normal desert boss, and Son of Sun switch places, because the little eye that's the center of Retinite looks kind of like the Son of Sun one, so for a second you're like, wait, why is it like a tiny Son of Sun? Oh right, Boss Rando. Yep, and Aku and Rithrick's talking in chat about looking like this might be a woe play on Aku's side.
How would Aku know?
Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't have any idea about this. The other reason that people will do this early is, if they've got access to this spot, maybe they're missing something that they want to buy. This is another shop that's available. But it's pretty likely that this will be Mount Low.
Yeah, the shop here is actually a pretty high tier shop, if I recall.
Yeah.
I don't know if that plays at all.
It can, for sure. It's a high enough tier shop that it's maybe more likely to have mid-ethers. With healing item rando, it can be extra valuable because you can roll lower on ethers. So you can have ethers that only heal you for 7 MP at minimum. So you might really want the mid-ethers that give you a little bit more than that. They'll also often be lower if the ethers are lower, but at least they're going to be better than 7 MP. So...
Doesn't really help you in battle as much with these high-priced spells.
Indeed.
Although running Ice 1 on Marl here, you could spam that all day pretty easily.
It's true. Yeah, and Chad is joking about how Aku doesn't often like to shop, so as we predicted, this is in fact a Mount Low play and not shopping, but that is a reason people sometimes get here.
Yeah. Well, it could be both, but yeah, Aku, he avoids shops like the plague.
Yes. I haven't been watching how many hits Mirshana has gotten in here on Son of Sun. This is a puzzle boss. It's not HP or that sort of thing, doesn't really matter. You need to hit the correct flame 10 times in order to get rid of this boss. It'll do this roulette shuffle, which...
No rhyme or reason to which one is the flame, although everyone has their idea. I always go left 2 or whatever.
Yeah, there's a little bit of method to that madness. That third from the left, second from the right one, I believe if you've not reset at all since starting the seed, or maybe if you've only reset once or something like that, that one's slightly more likely to be the one. The Chrono Trigger hackers have figured that out. But by and large, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Without Boss Rando, I'd be not opposed to having it fixed in code if possible, but with Boss Rando, it's more fun to just have it be random.
It's true. And I think it might make it a little bit too easy. You know, you could always one-cycle it if you knew which one it was. But,
yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Keeps it interesting, makes you look for red mail. Because, you know, you see Son of Sun, maybe you think, okay, I'll bail on this spot, come back with some red mail.
Yeah, it's true. And actually, I realized Son of Sun also does those, like, purple laser things, and those are another shadow attack. So blackmails can also be valuable here. Mirshana having a bit of trouble, having to reset. Yeah. Mirshana saying in chat that she miscounted on Son of Sun and paid for it. But, guessing.
Yeah, I know whenever I do it, when I find the flame, I don't care. I don't count. I'm just like, I just keep hitting it until this guy goes away.
Yes, indeed.
But I'm not a pro.
Fair enough. Yes, the one thing I've seen people do, you know, these runners don't have Ayla, but if you've gotten all 10 hits on, that's a perfect time to use Charm from Ayla, because at that point it won't counterattack you for using Charm, so you can hit the center one, see if you get some kind of nice item from Charm. Well, it's waiting to get its turn in order to die, basically.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of charms or luring top quips in Rando like this.
Yeah, Charm does get used in a few places, but you of course have to fight Ayla, and you have to be, you know, in the right tech order to get that. One spot that you see them a lot, if someone does have Ayla, is the Aussie fight in Magus' castle, because you can use a charm on those chains, and it will also kill them, which is nice. Gets you 2 items.
Double whammy.
Yeah, and sometimes you can get some really great things. One of the races we were streaming last week, I think. There were actually prism specs. Yeah, there were mega elixirs on one, and there were prism specs on the one right before it. I think those might have been the same day, actually. Sometimes it's speed tabs. It's really fun if you get one that gives speed tabs for both the drop and the charm, because then it means if you've got Ayla there, you get 8 speed tabs from that battle, which, speed is, of course, king when speedrunning, but also in Chrono Trigger generally, so everyone's always happy to find those.
Yeah, if you can go to Lavos with everyone with double star speed, you know, you're in a really good place.
Yeah, definitely. Haven't really been watching if Aku's gotten anything amazing here on Mount Woe.
I saw a safe helm minus the one time I looked over, so nothing great that I saw.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna glance at the spoiler log and see. There's actually a couple of speed tabs and a prism specs up here that he may be getting. But I don't know how far he's gotten with it yet.
Sun down on Mirshana's side after a grueling fight with a reset, but I think I saw a green dream on one of the drops. That's not too shabby to have.
Yeah, I think I saw a swallow question mark and a green dream. So that question mark means that it's lost its speed +3 effect.
And a pendant.
And pendant.
Because it's future access, and she can cash in on that moonstone, sunstone.
Yeah, it's true. Mirshana, I think, hasn't done the trial yet. I think that was Aku who did that, but it would give her more incentive to go do that, because then it's 2 key items, may as well.
But if Dreamstone's on Woe, then Aku's in the lead, so we see how this plays out.
We will see.
Turning in the bromide on Mirshana's side.
Yep, that is upgraded in Jets, as many of you may know. In Vanilla, it only gives you 1 tab, but we decided it's a little bit nicer if it gives you all 3. So people will go for this, even just for the speed tab, given how good speed tabs are, as we were just talking about.
That's why Aku dipped that far in the cathedral and then pieced out.
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be the usual strategy. You pick up the character, you go get the bromide, and then you leave if you're skipping it. Oh, Aku's saying in chat that he did not actually go get the bromide. He actually just got the character and left. in this seed.
Oh, right. He noped out of here.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll pick it up if he ends up needing to go back in there to get Frog. But if you're doing that, then there's no reason not to get the thing.
Yeah, Chrono needed magic, he said.
Yeah, for sure. Already got magic unlocked, just grabbed Chrono. Didn't even get that done. And here's Mirshana, looks like doing the desert probably. I believe
she might actually take these fights for gonna run away. Oh, yep. Looks like they're gonna get the gil and tech points out of this.
Yeah, this is like at least an okay spot to get some tech points in gear, or some tech points in XP, sorry.
Yeah, as long as you have a screen wipe in one move, it's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not an end game type grind spot, but it can be a solid one if you need a little bit more. You know, if the back of Cathedral rolls something that's really hard for you to take out, you know, it's Hecarim and you don't have any magic unlocked, or you don't have any magic techs, or, you know, a mutant and you think you need a little bit more to be able to go through that. Sometimes see people dip into desert to get those extra tech points. We also do see that Aku is taking these gargoyle fights on Mount Woe.
They're definitely better bang for your buck than the desert fights.
Yes, it's true.
And a dash ring? Oh, yes.
That's certainly something we might see used. Possibly on Robo. Robo's kind of the slowest character over here on Mirshana's side. Unless we find the Robo's Ribbon, of course, because that gives speed and some other stuff. That is usually worth it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I like the change where Robo's Ribbon is something he has to equip, because that's a slot, but I get it. They made it more powerful, so it's a trade-off.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you don't really do New Game Plus in Jets by and large, so it's sort of like, I don't know, it's a little more interesting if it's something you can equip, rather than in vanilla where you might go to Genodome over and over again and really power up Robo aggressively.
Oh, it stacks on New Game Pluses?
That's my understanding, at least, yep.
Oh, that's broken. Well, you have to beat the game, so it's not that broken.
It's true. You know, New Game Plus is always a little bit broken. Chrono Trigger. That's half the fun, right?
And that dash ring went on Marl on Aku's side as Mirshana is taking out her golem.
Yeah, it makes sense. Marl has gotten a little bit of a boost recently with this. Well, this is beta is what we're using for the tournament, but it's the beta of what will become 3.2. And in that we got Marl's re-raise tech, but also Marl got an extra point of speed. In Jets before, two other characters had gotten a speed boost, so Robo and Luke, I believe, normally started with like 6 in vanilla, and they were bumped to 8 in Jets, but that made them equal with Marl, so to make things a little bit closer to regular and give Marl a little bit of a boost, she now gets 9 speed to start.
Now, how about a flag where everyone has double star speed from the start?
Gosh. It sort of feels like it would be too easy, but it sure would be fun, right?
I mean, we're the Jets of time. You know, it's supposed
It's
to go
true.
fast.
Indeed.
A Rust Tyranno at the top of Woe. Now, this is a single target in a spot that normally has 3, so this is probably a pretty beefy boss.
It's true, and actually Rust Tyranno is also beefed up even more. So, the way that the boss spot HP works is when you have this multiple spot boss, it combines sort of the HP of everything that you have to take out, and then redistributes that. But Rust Tyranno gets, I believe, 4/3 of gets 7/4 apparently of the HP that's in the slot normally, and that's so that there's a higher chance that you'll actually see that first nuke come out from Rust Tyranno, which is basically the only thing that it actually does damage with.
Right, although the roars, they have a sap effect, but otherwise they trigger counterattacks.
Yes,
but
that's true.
it's not going to matter much going down as we're talking about it.
Yep. Aku laughing in chat.
Oh. I believe that's one of her endgame weapons. Or at least high tier. Get them all mixed up.
Yeah, the Valkyrie is her top tier weapon, and since it has that name, that means that it was not randomized at all in this particular seed. So that is just her. That is just her ultimate weapon.
Toma's pop for his trouble. Here, have some soda.
Yep. That does open another check, and we'll see if he just decides to go straight for that, or just drop off the pop and come back later.
He's headed for 1000 AD, if possible.
Yeah, it's true. You know, we know as the viewers here that the pendant is somewhere. Reptite Lair. Right. So we'll see if Aku heads that way. We of course don't know where the other pieces of Go Mode are, and they might require going to the future.
Right. And you can't do that Moonstone without going to the future, so he's pendant sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it seems definitely like that would be.
Oh, wait, was Pendant on... Where was Pendant again?
It was a Reptite Lair, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, it was on Reptite Lair, with behind Son of Sun.
Yeah, I kind of see him doing future Reptite Lair, which is really just Giant's Claw.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same place.
Other than half of it's flipped around. You have to press all of the left buttons instead of the right buttons. And yep, here is Aku dropping off that pop in order to unlock Giant's Claw. After this, we'll see if he's going through that, or if he's going to Reptite Lair or something else by where he decides to go with the Epic next. Oh yes, I missed it in chat earlier, but Lord Batsy's saying you can customize the speed tabs, actually. In the new beta, you can set them much higher. So yeah, you can set them to 9 or something, and then you just give everyone one speed tab. Yeah. Yes, normally we don't do that. We keep them at only 1, because speed tabs are good enough already. But you really want to nuke everything. Yes, that's true.
You really like to do some team planning on top of all this speedrunning.
Yes. Looks like Aku is doing Giant's Claw. Interestingly, Giant's Claw is actually possibly more useful in Gear Rando because it does have a rock in it. And as I mentioned earlier, the rocks can roll effects on them. So, you know, it's rare to get Prism Specs. I usually use it as the example. But, you know, you could basically be getting a Prism Specs in here from that rock chest.
On top of other high-tier loot along the way. It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially for Aku.
Yeah, definitely.
These bold choices and just sticks with them.
Yep, and I don't know if we've seen anyone use power tabs, but Aku's mentioning in chat too that there are 3 power tabs in Giant's Claw, which can be very nice, especially if they roll high, and as it happens in this seed, they rolled the maximum for our default settings, which is +4, which can be very nice when you're using physical characters, which of course includes both Chrono and Robo, so sure Aku will use those.
Full power tabs and that Uzi Punch will really shine.
Indeed. Same with Confuse. And looks like Mirshana is heading toward Mount Woe here now.
You get her can of soda.
Yes. Mirshana saying in chat that this is an hour in, and she is certain at this point that Aku already has Go Mode, which of course he doesn't, but you don't know that when you're racing, so.
The assumption you always make is that my opponent made all the right choices, and I'm playing catch-up.
Yes.
Especially after that hour mark, especially, you start to feel it.
Yeah. It's definitely true, and I mean, this seed is... It's not the most open seed I've ever seen, but it is fairly open, and I feel like those are the ones where making the right choices first is often the way that you get somewhere. Just because you try whatever tricks you try, and if you happen to get the ones that give you Go Mode, then you got it. As opposed to seeds that are more sort of railroad you a little bit more, where you kind of can know, like, well, my opponent has to go down this exact same chain of all the same things. So have a better idea if you're ahead or behind there.
Yeah, and I think, whatever go mode you get, you run with it. But the race I commentated, was it last week? The one runner got Magus Castle and was like, you know what? I'm gonna gamble and go one more check, and it paid off.
Yeah.
That helped him in the race. It was ridiculous.
Oh, it's true.
Lucky, but yeah.
Yep, and usually that's sort of an extreme case. Normally we recommend that it's best to only gamble on an extra check if you're, one away and you have something really fast, like going into the desert or doing Son of Suns, Palace in the future. But remember the
fight.
Yeah. And yes, we have scariest boss in the game here, Golem boss.
Now, Aku doesn't have to do this. If you wait, he'll just die.
He will.
Run away.
Yeah, he does run away. He is worth a fairly, decent amount of tech points and XP, as I recall. So, and it is faster if you can get rid of him. So, most runners will try to take him out, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I think maybe if you had your battle speed cranked for some reason, it might be faster. Just let him time out.
Yeah.
Because Aku won the DPS race there pretty easily.
Yeah.
Getting a Wonder Mune? Is that what it said?
Yes. So, the Grand Leon, otherwise known as the Masamune 2, is one of the items that can be randomized by gear randomization. It's the ultimate weapon for Frog, and all of the ultimate weapons have a 1 in 4 chance of getting each of the 4 effects that basically appear on those. So either the increased...
That's a Grand Leon with Wonder effect.
Exactly. So the 4 they can get is increased critical, like the Rainbow. They can get the Wonder effect, like Luca's Wonder Shot. They can get Crisis, which is like Robo's Crisis on. Yeah, multiplier based on your last digit. Or you can get the Doom effect, which is from Magus's Doomsicle originally, which increases the damage you do if 1 or more of your teammates are dead. So yeah, that is the Grand Leon, but in this seed, it's rolled the Wonder effect.
And Aku is waiting for a secret tunnel.
Yep, and he has gotten one there. I believe that spot will take him to, what would that be, the northeast spot? But it drops him in a spot. The northeast and southeast places in this tunnel, there's actually a second dig that you can get. So you can get a secret tunnel and then drop into a hole and get another secret tunnel. But the whole way to the right of that top room, if you drop down there, you drop in a spot where you're not able to get it, so Aku would not be able to here. But he still will get the chest in this room, as well as one another level down.
Well, it wasn't paying off for that sight cap, but we'll see if he gets anything else down here.
Yeah. Full ether. So yeah, nothing amazing here, but and I did just glance at the what the healing items rolled in this seed. It looks like they're not too bad. The ethers rolled 9, which is less than the default. Mangort is asking here in chat if the new random weapons are new to Jets or just new to streamed races. They're relatively new to Jets, so these are only available in beta, which has been in beta since like January. I don't remember exactly when gear randomization was added, but this is definitely our first, big event that we've been doing a lot of gear rando with. And yes, thank you, Rithrick's linking the wiki page on gear rando, which is very detailed. Thanks mostly to Lord Batsy.
Aku's about to go into his final fight here in Giant's Claw. In the last shelter save point.
Yep.
Who will it be?
I realized I didn't see if he picked up the rock, but apparently the rock that was in Giant's Claw is the Silver Rock Plus, which is one of the rocks you normally don't use.
Oh, Lava? Oh, no. Son of Sun.
Son of Sun, yeah, we've seen this because Mirshana has gone through here, and we know that he will get
Oh,
the
that's
pendant.
right.
Yeah.
I
But
kept thinking he was still in Giant's Claw. But no, he's in Reptile Lake.
he's in Reptile Lair. Yeah, what did he get from Giant's Claw? Did I just completely space that? Right, it was the Wonder Moon. Okay.
Yeah, it's not marked on the tracker.
Yes. There it is.
Oh, there it goes.
And yes, YRYum77. The other runners can't see the others. This particular race is actually one that's already happened. So this is a restream of a race that happened last week, last Wednesday, and it was at a time that conflicted with another race that we were already streaming. So this is when we had the time to pull it up. But this is a race that's already decided. And we will just see the result now, which is why our racers are in chat and telling us their decision-making process. But normally in a live race, they are completely separate and don't know anything about what's going on.
Yeah, and Mia knows the result, but I do not because I didn't check the standings.
Yes, I was actually the one who rolled this seed and monitored their race, so I was pretty guaranteed that I was going to know the result. But I won't tell you because it's more fun if you don't know, right? Oh, I think I will check OBS real quick, but I think she was just referring to you don't hear the audio of the other runner if you're in a live race. I am seeing audio go through from Aku's video. We as the commentators can't hear that, so hopefully that's good. Chat, let us know if there is in fact an audio issue, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, can we pop in some Chrono Trigger lo-fi?
We could, in theory. Usually just find something on YouTube to play for opening and closing. But yeah, looks like we do have audio, and that's fine. There's Aku finishing up his Reptile Lair, and he will get that pendant in just a second, and we'll see what he decides to go for.
I'm gonna say instantly dives the future, gets some more items, and has some fun.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Aku has, I think, done more checks at this point, because he did do that Prism Shard, and I forget where he got that Hero Medal, but he clearly got that, and the Jerky.
He set up Moonstone, so he'll complete that now too if he goes to the future.
Yes, did he set that? I remember seeing Mirshana do it. Yeah, I remember seeing Mirshana do it. I don't remember if I saw Aku, but well, now he's
going back to do just that.
He's going right there. It's like he heard us from a week and a half in the future.
Time is weird like that.
Yes, this is a time travel game after all, right? So yes, here is Aku dropping off his. And yes, YRYum77, they are the same seed, which, as it happens, I rolled for them last week. They start at exactly the same time. We have a tool that lets them synchronize that, and then they run through it, and whoever finishes first has won that race. And we've made everything as decided by the seed as possible. In the past, there's some elevators in Black Omen, which could still roll different numbers of encounters for two different runners, but now that's been fixed too. So, every runner is only going to get 2 encounters if that's what it rolled for that seed, or 3 encounters if that's what it rolled. So.
As long as they both take that same go mode.
Of course, yes. If they go there, they will get the same stuff.
For anyone who might be familiar with Link to the Past Randomizer, it's sort of like setting the number of blue balls that the wizard can throw at you in Hyrule Castle.
Yes, I have heard that comparison as well. And Aku is heading to the future, just as you predicted, basically. Definitely makes sense. He doesn't have very many other checks open, or possibly even any checks open. I'm trying to think if there's something else he could be doing, but
yeah, he's pretty much exhausted all he could with what he had. This might have been his only option.
looking at it, Denadoro, neither runner has done Denadoro.
Yeah.
So that's something they could do. They may had Backyap Aki saying that in chat as well, that there was still Denadoro.
But that door was one check and you're done. This is opening up a world of checks plus a free character, and he still doesn't know where Frog is, and he's got a piece of the sword and a Wonder Mune sitting there.
Yeah, for sure. And it also charges up the pendant. Those sealed chests aren't always good, but actually, especially some of the spots in the future can be pretty good. If you decide to do Aristome, going back there, you can get some good items. In Bangor Dome and Trandome, right when you first get there, there could be a few good items. So definitely,
at the very least, it's something. It's good stuff that's good enough to sell.
Yes.
You just save for an amulet at one of the last shops in the game.
Yeah, for sure. Those new shops, one of them in Kajar for those go modes, and one on the Black Omen often have some good stuff, but are guaranteed to have an amulet. It's valuable because
non-randomized amulet, I should ask.
Yes. So the amulet is something that is not randomized. Gear randomization doesn't do that much with accessories in general, actually, because most of them have effects that appear elsewhere, and also most of them say what they do in their name, so we didn't want to, shuffle those up because it's just a little weird to do that. There's really only 3 things in at least these flags that can change with the accessories. One of them is the rocks giving those extra effects that I already mentioned. One of them is that there's a 25% chance that prism specs become the haste specs, and do haste instead of the plus 50% damage. And there is a chance for the Rage Band and Frenzy Band to change the kind of counterattack they do. So this is something that's a little hidden in the code and doesn't appear in the vanilla game, but there's an alternate counterattack that actually fills your ATB bar instead of doing a direct counterattack. So there's a chance that, the Rage and Frenzy bands will get that effect instead. So if you see a Rage Band ? Or a Frenzy Band ? That's what it means, is that it's changed to that effect.
I do like that change, that especially for these skilled runners, they can really make use of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. If you have a physical attacker, sometimes the regular counter can be better. You do have to be managing your turns. If you've only got it on one person, it doesn't always help you that much because they're just waiting for someone else to do a dual tech with. There's definitely a few places where it's really valuable. You mentioned before that Rust Tyranno's little growl things, and also Black Tyranno's growls trigger counterattacks, and those items.
In this case, you could be spamming Confuse almost non-stop after you do it, you get rolled, you do it again.
Exactly. You basically just get 5 free extra turns on Black Tyranno and on Rust Tyranno from it, as long as it triggers, because it is still a chance. I believe the Frenzy Band has a 50% chance of a counterattack, and the Rage Band is 90% chance. So, especially with the Rage Band ? You're pretty likely to, but there is still a chance you won't. Akuheish making quick work of Dragon Tank here, already through it.
Yeah, I didn't even have time to really talk about it. It was just over.
Yes.
They're about to make us a human bridge.
Yes, it's very nice of him. We'll mention...
It's the least he could do.
Yes, exactly. We'll mention Dragon Tank is one of the bosses that isn't randomized by Boss Randomizer. Dragon Tank is one...
It's a very scripted spot.
Yeah, I mean, it is in theory possible to move it around. It sort of works better because it's such sort of an important spot in terms of the logic of the randomizer. Getting a random boss there could totally wall you off. So having something that's predictable there is a little bit important in terms of people building their strategies here. There's one other boss.
I'm really confident going into it. You don't have to worry I'm gonna die to this boss. I have to redo prison.
Yeah, you know that you're not going to get Terra Mutant there or something, right? And that's important if you are not set up to battle Terra Mutant. The other boss that isn't randomized in at least the early game is the R-Series fight, which is in the factory. We probably won't see that this run because the main reason you do it...
have end-of-time access.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you end-of-time access, and the gate key was so early that our runners have already gone that direction. You'll see factory when gate key is hidden, especially if gate key is on Mount Woe. You actually can't get to the end of time except by going to the factory. You'll also see it sometimes in Chronosanity. There's some chests in the factory, and you'll see it if there's the locked characters flag on. If the locked characters flag is on, then you actually have to finish factory in order to pick up that character in Protodome. But we probably won't see it today.
Yeah, and we have Mother Brain over here on Aku's side with Sunspot.
Yes, we do. And some of you may have the question. With the boss spot HP flag, it's based on the spot, but of course this spot normally has a puzzle boss in it. So you might wonder what the HP value for this spot is. It's 6,500, as it happens. It was decided based on sort of how easily you might expect to get through this spot. In general, other than the puzzle boss. So. Yeah, and Mirshana here is running up Denadora, so we'll see what she finds there.
She gets second gold, and it's almost vanilla spot. It's off to the races.
It's true.
Yeah, because this is normally the broken sword piece up here.
Yeah, normally it's the broken blade here. And Mirshana just loses that race and has to fight the bird and the Ogun here, but
those birds can be real bad, B-words.
Yes. We call a lot of the birds here on Denadora jerk birds. I feel like we use that for the birds that are annoying to dodge, and also the birds that throw rocks at you, and also the ones that wake up enemies to cause extra fights for you, so multi-purpose insult, I guess. And Mirshana has...
Mother Brain fleeing on the left side is pretty funny.
Yep.
Sorry, it's a clone.
Clone. Okay. So that is, I guess, now our second piece of Black Omen Go mode. I guess
at least one piece of every Go mode now.
Yes, and actually Aku has...
Two of,
Yeah, we've seen two of everything between our two runners, looks like.
Exactly. Mirshana has Frog and the sword piece, and Aku has, two pieces for the other two.
Yep.
Oh, what was that acquired on the Moonstone side?
So that was just the Moonstone itself. So now he has yeah, he still needs to turn it in. Fair enough. And we'll see, he may also go to Luca's house to get a helm from Tavin, because that's now also available since he has charged up the Sunstone. Looks like he's going to guard a castle first, though.
And he charged with a pendant, but I never see any runners go to the Blue Pyramid.
Well, yeah, it's usually not super valuable. It's something that you'll see checked in Chronosanity a little bit more, because it can actually get a key item in it. If it does roll a key item in Chronosanity, it's the save on both sides, by the way. But,
that's good to know.
Yeah, it's a long enough cutscene that a lot of people really don't bother going there. The other sealed chests are exactly the same tier of gear and are much faster. Running into the inn and opening those two, you can even open them up back to back without waiting.
On Aku's side, sorry to interrupt.
Ah, yes.
We have Commentator No Mode.
Yes, we do.
We know where No Mode is.
Yeah, and we'll see here, I think Aku actually didn't check the Protodome character, so my guess is that he'll probably, or maybe he did and just didn't pick it up, but,
He knows Aim's down in the burrow, so that's not it, and he knows, well, that's all he knows right now.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see if he decides to go check Protodome first, or just go right back. And the Aussie pants are the helm from Tavin, which is not really what you usually want to see there, but alas.
It's the British pants, where they mean underwear.
Indeed.
Mirshana making short work of the first part of the Master Meme fight. We'll see the boss come up here the real boss come up in a second.
Yes. The one that's actually randomized, like the twins. Like we have Zombor, probably.
Yes.
Yes. I don't remember if we've seen Retinite, but I think if it was Retinite, we would have seen the center eye instead of the top pop up there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And Aku is going to go ahead and forge that sword just in case.
Yeah.
Still no frog.
Yeah, it could be he also wants Ayla, but it's also, you know, on his way. He's already in 1000 AD, so he might just figure out, get it done now, and then run off elsewhere.
Hop back to Tabin's house too and get another free item.
Yes, he can also do that now that he's forged the sword, and that one is a weapon. Looks like he is not going for that, though.
Jump to the future. He's gonna check that future character spot and hope for a frog.
Yeah, and that certainly makes sense because it's going to be a little bit faster than finishing Cathedral. Of course, I think he won't be sad about the result here either because that means it's Luca. So, really no losing at this point, I think.
Yeah. I bet he picks her up.
Yeah, probably he does. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to use her, I think, just because, you know, he's invested these resources in these other characters at this point. You know, he'd need to catch her up on techs and catch her up on XP and all of that. And if he's happy with the damage he can do with this party, he might actually let Luca sit on the backbench. Yeah, and actually he's not even picking her up.
Gonna leave best girl sitting there.
Yeah, when you get her that late, I guess it's not quite as worth it, huh?
Yeah. Now, don't characters and spots get passive XP that the team earns?
They get spots, so they get it if they're out of the party, but I think only if you've picked them up.
Okay.
Someone could correct me. Aku, joking, you're not going to help me get into go mode.
With a vanilla game mechanic, where I think they're leveled to a certain level, plus if you start getting ahead of them, they passively catch up till you officially pick them up.
Yeah, I think that's true in the vanilla game, that your character pickups are set to a level based on your party's level, at least in certain situations. So, yep, Aku is heading to the back of Cathedral here. We'll see if he picks up that bromide, like we mentioned before, or if he just says, I want to go. I go as fast as I can to go mode.
Yeah, so he knows this is Frog, though.
Yes, at this point he knows that,
this
because...
This is go mode, so there's a good chance he just rushes.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't bromide at this point, he just needs to go.
Yep, and, you know, I mean, it still could be worth picking up the bromide. You know, the power tabs are +4 and the magic tabs are +3, and the speed tab is always nice. But, you know, if he feels fine. Yeah, exactly. If he feels good enough, no reason to...
Ooh, misses that skip on this fight. Unless he really wanted to take it.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. Cathedral is not exactly a paragon of valuable...
Oh no, what's he gonna do without those 2 tech points?
Oh no. Yes. And yes, Aku saying exactly the same thing in chat, over an hour in, let's just get this done. I think most runners would feel the same.
And Mirshana is doing the rainbow shell check. This will be 2 PMs for her in one go, so that is helpful.
Yes.
This will give her go mode.
Yes, it will. That's true. She'll get that hero medal first. Yeah, you know, she's lost to forge the sword, but that doesn't take any like real time or energy to get through, so we don't always count it. We do have a spot on our tracker for it, of course, but I'll actually look there for us.
So then she probably will pick up the sword, go to the hollow, get the... Because the hero's badge is the other part of this quest, right?
Yeah, that's the first one that she's going to get from the King's Trial itself, is going to be the hero medal, and that leads to the jerky, but she may also want to at least see what character it is, so there's no reason not to...
Well, yeah, from her point of view, it's either Ayla or Luca. Either one of those is great to have.
Yeah.
Might not keep him in the party, but you never know.
Yeah, you know. Sometimes you need to change strategies at the last minute, and if it's basically free to get the option anyway, why not, right? And here's Aku seeing
Slash fight.
the slash fight, which he will...
Please.
Yes, which he will very possibly take out in like one hit here because he's coming back so late. Yeah.
I think he just did it with, the first 2 hits sealed the deal.
Yeah, I think he did twice the damage he needed to there. That is often what happens when you come back to Cathedral late. Poor Yakra Slash never stood a chance. Indeed. I missed again what the first 3 chests were in the Guardia Treasury.
I hear you clicking through the spoiler log trying to find out.
Yeah, sorry, my keyboard's a little clicky, I guess. Looks like it's a Silver Stud, a Load Vest, and a Lapis in those first 3 chests, which Silver Stud can be pretty valuable if you want to be preserving MP, but not amazing.
I mean, if you're trying to, like, blitz through, you know, the endgame dungeons, it does make sense. You can screen wipe and not stop for ethers.
Yeah, for sure. So here's Aku getting his Go mode.
Yep, he already forged a sword, so this is Go mode.
Yep. And
I doubt he goes back for Ayla, though. This is straight to Magus Castle. Do not collect Go. Do not collect $200.
yeah, I think you're right about that. Especially, you know, he passed up Luca already. The same concerns are going to apply to picking up Ayla. You know, haven't infested anything, so why bother? I mean, the only reason you might is if you want to have her so you can switch her in just to get the charms on those chains we were talking about in Magus Castle. But that's a really minor thing that probably isn't worth the time to go over there and run back and all that.
Yeah, at this point, I'm thinking, well, he has the Wonder Bean, so he might be Frog, but it's so low level. Like you said, there's a lot of catch-up involved. This might be get Frog out, cut a big hole, and thank you, goodbye.
Yep, and you know, he has the Hero Medal as well as the Wonder Moon, so Frog does have his, you know, his best gear here, but he is going to be behind.
It does help against the Magus fight. Whoever ends up rolling him, I wonder if Grand Leon or regular Mass Immune will lower his defenses.
Yes, so that fight, it used to only be the like regular tier Masamune that would lower the defense, but that's another beta change, is that the Grand Leon is also able to lower the defense, or the magic defense for that Magus or whoever replaces Magus fight. Looks like, at least for now, Aku is sticking with his prior team.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's been working with them, he's been feeding him tabs, they're ready to go.
Yep, exactly. Mirshana is gearing up to fight, I think it's Super Slash that was here, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Probably will make pretty quick work of him, just because she's here later than Aku was, and already gotten pretty far through.
Yeah. They're both having fights the others did go a lot smoother just because of time.
Yeah, just the timing there.
And Aku out of mana on Goku, I mean Chrono. Can't do a screen wipe.
Yep, I guess Aku decided not to do a shelter before coming in, or possibly hasn't bought any more shelters yet. He was commenting in chat earlier that he didn't have any left, 30 minutes ago or something. But
yeah, I do. Aku mentioning in chat the naming work. I do like the names on his side of things. Is that's something you set before you start your run now?
Yeah, so that's another thing we have in beta. It used to be that you had to do that in the menus when you picked up the characters, and also there's all the stuff that people would do in the menus. So setting the battle speed, setting the background for their text boxes, setting if they're keeping any memory cursors, that sort of stuff. All of that's now been set up so it can be done directly on the web generator. So that's why we're seeing all these different names, is that everyone can set their own default names for the characters and just mash through as usual, but still get characters called Goku, or whatever. So.
Yeah, that's why I've seen a lot of frogs pre-named Glenn, which, I like. Goku, yeah, because the artist for this is the same as the artist for Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, Akira Toriyama did a lot of the character design for this game, and is perhaps best known for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it's definitely been fun to see what people decide to name their their characters. One of our runners, Smirk JD, has been naming the characters after players in the community who really like that character, so it's been fun to see who he puts in each slot for that, and sometimes see Glenn's name show up, sometimes see Goku, so on.
That's the kind of flavor that really keeps the community alive and meaningful.
It's true. Oh yes, the epic is, Aku's pointing out that the epic is one of the things you can also rename in that early screen, and he has named his the TARDIS.
Quite fitting, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so here is Mirshana. I guess didn't do the Moonstone yet. Is checking who's here and getting that hero medal item first. Which will work out a little bit unfortunate if she does decide she wants Ayla, because she'll have to come back. But probably
the Moonstone check, it does require a double dip, meaning you do the quest first and then you go back to see Melchior.
Yes, that's true. And I believe one of the things that is being considered for a future change is making it so it's a little bit, you can get both key items at once, so that it's a little bit more valuable to go through there. But Mirshana's.
Yeah, that's quality of life, and our development team. I think you're on that, right? Aren't you one of the main coders?
Well, I don't do any of the hard stuff. So, yeah, I can't do anything of the, like, SNES assembly language type stuff that makes the really deep changes. Probably the main person who's been doing a lot of that lately is Pseudoarch, who is also the one who organized this tournament, that I'm helping him out with being admin for as well. The original dev for this, of course, is Ansky, who is capable of doing a lot of the same things. He's been a little bit less active in the community lately, but still, all of his work is much appreciated.
Okay, all praise to the devs, as we have Lavo spawning slash spot on Akusa.
Yes. And Mirshana was pointing out in chat that thing that I hadn't thought about, which is that she has not actually unlocked the future, so she needs to go through the prison sequence here in order to pick up the charged Moonstone, in order to go back to pick up that Moonstone item. So that explains completely why Hero Medal was the first check, because if that Hero Medal had been the Bent Hill, she wouldn't have to do this whole unlock sequence at all.
That makes sense. Yeah, I forgot about that too. It's just been, I guess not fast, but there's been a lot of progress in a short amount of time.
It's true. It's nice to see, you know, both of our runners have been pretty efficient about getting through checks and getting through bosses, and makes our job harder as commentators, but in a way that we all appreciate, I think.
Yeah, I'll work on being a better commentator of these kind of races I can see.
Exactly. Yes.
I think the only way to really improve commentating on stuff like this is to have the Google Glass sort of setup where you have literally one stream on the left eye, one stream on the right eye.
Yes. It's also a good time to mention that we really appreciate our folks who do tracking for us. So, Aku is actually doing tracking for this race that he was part of, but they're the ones who make sure that those trackers light up on the screen there, and it makes it at least a little bit easier for us commentators to know what's going on without having to pay perfect attention to every text box that comes up. Glanced out and go, oh yeah, Aku did do that check because it gave him the Ruby Knife or whatever.
Yeah.
Thanks to Aku for that.
Castle climb here as Mirshana's escaping prison.
Yep.
Hey guys, these are trained professionals. Do not try to escape prison at home.
Yes. Looks like Mirshana is heading over to set Fritz free. I didn't see if Aku did, but the benefit of that, of course, is that with him free, if you have Chrono in your party, you can go to his dad's shop in Truce in 1000, and he will give you 10 mid-ethers, which can be pretty valuable pickup, especially if you need some extra mid-ethers. Aku's saying he didn't pick up Fritz. pretty standard. I think Aku often doesn't pick up crits.
Yeah, even with Chrono, it is still, a time sink.
Yeah, it does take some time. This seed, the ethers and mid ethers didn't roll too badly, so I think that these runners aren't like super starved for MP regeneration, especially when you get really low ether rolls with healing item rando on. I think people are probably more prone to picking up Fritz just because then you get something that does at least some amount of valuable MP regen for you.
Right, and there's also that, the same reason why we have Pet the Cat as part of our tracker now, is that it's just a good thing to do.
Yes, we're just helping our friend, right?
I love these skips on Aku's side where it's just like you just wait and the trigger just rolls right by you.
Yep, that is one of the standard sort of skip tactics that we'll see a lot in these runs is that if you aren't moving, then the enemies will not trigger attacks anywhere in the game, actually. You have to be moving, and they can either be stationary or moving, but as long as you're stopped, they can roll right past you. The place we see it most is probably here in Magus Castle, but also the Cracker enemies on Death Peak, which we probably won't be seeing in all this run for obvious reasons, but those are also some place where you'll often see the technique of just stopping and waiting to avoid a battle.
I don't even know how much checks Mirshana's going to do in the future, because she knows she has a key item waiting for her. She's got to get to Sunshrine and then back to the castle.
Yeah, the only thing I could see her maybe doing is Sun Palace. If she thinks she's powerful enough to just kind of blitz right through it. That could be faster than the Moonstone because you do have to run down into that basement. But since she's already dropped it off in prehistory, it's clearly, it's a pretty close one there. I think it's likely that we will see her just run straight for the Moonstone and not do any other checks.
Was Clone there?
Was the clone? Yeah, the clone was the Sun Palace. So.
Oh my gosh, we might have a Gomo divergence then if she does that first.
Oh, that is true, actually. Yeah.
I always love a Go mode split, especially when she's chasing after Aqua at this point. She doesn't know that, but that would give her an edge that might make us competitive again. Because right now, Aku's definitely in the lead. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's true, and I know. I'm sure Aku will say that he doesn't mind Magus Castle, and actually Omen is his least favorite Go mode. But I think that's somewhat of an uncommon position. Most people find Magus Castle Go mode to be sort of the biggest, slowest one to go through. So getting a different mode is often something people will try for just to save a little bit of time, and getting Omen here would produce that for Mirshana. But we shall see.
Resting in Enertron will restore your HP MP, but you'll still be hungry.
But you're still hungry. Yeah, I did see a fun thing there that Mirshana did. You can actually start the process of opening the door and then run back down and get into the Enertron in order to save a little bit of time by sort of only seeing one of those, having those animations sort of overlap each other. So that's a fun thing to actually pull off, save a second, but
it's happening.
It's
happening.
Yep, going for the Moonstone here.
Never mind.
Oh yeah, no, this is the Moonstone spot and not the Sun Palace. So still a possibility. She's just picking it up and then going to Sun Palace next to save time. But yep, looks like we're going to be seeing Magus Castle.
Well, she doesn't know it's Go mode, but she knows it's a key item and it's easy.
Yes.
I get it. I'd probably make the same decision.
Yep, at this point the Moonstone is effectively a free check, and you do still have a boss at Sun Palace, so it is kind of an evaluation there of, do you think you have enough power to take out that spot right away, so that it's worth it to do that instead of changing time periods and then run downstairs and this whole thing that Mirshana's doing right now.
Yeah, at this point in her run, there's not too many bosses there that could really give her a challenge. I mean, you gotta fight them, but it's still
she got the level, she got the tech. She could do pretty much any boss there with maybe a reset and gear up if she thinks she might have, put some blackmails or whatever on it.
Yeah, it's definitely true. That is one of the highest tier spots. I believe that one's calibrated for level 18. Most of the stuff in the future is calibrated for, I think, 14 or 15. Before Go Mode, the only other spot that has a higher tier for the scaling purposes is actually the top of Mount Woe, which both of our runners have done, so probably safe to say that she can handle Sun Palace, but whether she can handle it fast enough to be faster than this, who knows? And of course, she's gonna go forge the sword and head into that, I guess, his castle right now, presumably.
Yeah, Mirshana saying in chat she wishes she had gone to Sun Palace. In hindsight, that was always 2020.
Yeah, for sure. No, we have had some races. I mean, I think it might have been Aku, actually. I think it might have been Aku and Smirk. No, Aku and Smirk is upcoming. It's Azure Kale and Smirk JD had their match on Wednesday, and actually Smirk got unlucky and didn't find a Go Mode that was super fast. I think he had avoided Denadora or Hecarim or something like that. So, hindsight can certainly be be unfortunate once you actually see the spoiler log or watch someone else's run and figure out how much easier it could have been for you.
Yeah, and knowing what we know, what the fastest could have got Pendant and then to Black Omen somewhat quickly, right?
Let's see. So to get the pendant, it was Snail Stop for the gate key, and then Reptile for the pendant, and then it was Denadoro and Sun Palace. So yeah, I mean, that probably would have been, if you chose exactly the right things. I feel like that's probably the fastest mode. Yeah.
It never actually happened, but it could have been a jet suit if you made those decisions. While you get the story, can you look up where Dreamstone was?
Yeah, so I have it up right now. The Genodome is where Dreamstone was, so that's probably not...
That's a bit painful.
Yeah, Genodome can be nice sometimes. Zelfer, one of our other runners, is well known for going into Geno early, getting a bunch of levels there, and then speeding through the end of the game, even if there's nothing that valuable there. But a lot of our runners don't really want to do Genodome because it is a pretty long check to get through. Similar to Mount Woe, actually.
You get levels, you get loot, but at the end of the day, it is just one key item at the end.
Yep.
Aku is trying to power through this Chrono Magus over here. Doing some decent damage with Ice Sword.
Yeah, but has just oof.
Yeah,
Yeah, Aku.
Commentators cursing the future.
Yes, and we'll see. Aku does sometimes push close to the wire, so we'll see if he does actually start reviving some people here, or if he just tries to push through and get the damage. Looks like he's used an elixir to make sure that Chrono stays alive.
Chrono has a barrier on his helmet.
Yeah, that maybe sounds right. We'll see how much damage this does. It's not enough to take him out.
So he can confuse, heal, keep going.
Yep.
Oh, well, that was it.
There he does.
He was last leg of his DPS race and he won.
Yep, and, Robo and Marl won't get the tech points, at least from that, but, when you're in Go Mode, it's not quite as important, especially Ocean Palace Go Mode, where you're going to get the grind spot that we always use with those mages and thrashers, I think, are the enemies that are there. It's, I think, the best tech points in the game is that spot, so probably see Aku take a couple of fights there. He's done a lot of checks, so at this point might not need to do very many to get to a level and tech point level that's what he wants. As soon as he finds the Skyway, there we go.
It is tricky, all that ice really throws you off.
Yeah, map sort of has one color to it.
You've seen this Discord down in the chat? Aku and Mirshana going at it. Aku was basically leaving as Mirshana was finally entering.
Yes. We'll definitely see,
16-minute difference.
yeah, something like that. We'll definitely see, how much time Mirshana can make up, or, you know, it's totally possible that Aku will run into something that causes him some trouble, and we'll just have to see.
They are running different teams, so it could come down to execution.
It's true, yeah. Aku's gonna have a few more double techs to use, I guess, given Marl, have Ice Tackle, stuff like that, but hard to say exactly how it'll go.
Ice Tackle plus Confuse versus on Mirshana's side, you'll have maybe his best combos. I guess it's Chrono's and Robo's best dual tech.
Gosh,
Off blank here.
yeah, I'm pulling it up because I have completely forgotten. Super Volt is probably the best dual tech there. In Jets, it's actually changed to use Luminaire instead of Lightning too, so it's a little bit more powerful. Yeah, Aku's saying that in chat too, just because I find it. The other two they have is Rocket Roll, which is using such low-level techs, it's often not worth it, and Max Cyclone, which can be okay, but it's also some lower stuff. So Knights of the Calculator, a Wall Helm, in this case we have Gear Randomization on. So that's actually the Haste Helm, but Haste has been replaced with Barrier. So I guess that's probably what Chrono has on, I think on both screens, actually.
Yep. They're both rocking that glow.
Indeed.
Aku's side, he faces the robot. I'm guessing Chrono probably already has double star speed.
Yeah, Chrono does start pretty fast. A little bit surprised to see, well, I guess he's through now, but a little bit surprised to see haste on someone other than Marl first. Usually what we'll see runners do is to cast haste on Marl herself first, because that means that the second haste goes off that much faster. Maybe he knew he was just close enough to the end of the battle that it didn't matter. I mean, it looks like he didn't even use a turn on Robo there after casting haste, so maybe it was just, use up this turn.
Yeah, plus, that's the golem spot. I mean, it's not too punishing. You can get through it quickly.
Yeah, it's true. It's not a terrible spot to get through. The dual spot is really the one that is more worrisome here, unless you roll something really nasty in that first spot. But that'll be after we get through Ocean Palace here. Aku pointing out, Ice 2 is Marl's last tech, which is not really what you want to see.
He kept her this far, he's not going to leave her now. He's committed, just like he's committed never going to a shopping for help.
Yep, sure seems like. And I mean, I think it makes sense at this point. You know, you're not going to get something better out of bringing in Magus, who he hasn't used since the start, or bringing in, I guess, what, Frog would be his other choice. You know, it's just, there's no resources in those characters. Even with Ice 2 last, you're going to have to grind a little bit more to get it, but probably will. Aku pointing out he did buy some shelters at some point here. I guess we blinked and missed it, but happens, right?
Yeah. As we see Mirshana making probably quick work of spell 1 over here.
Yes. A pretty good party for doing this, in fact. I mean, all three of these characters will have lightning, so whoever gets it first, you can put it out there. You've got Confuse, got some good magic on Vegas, and yeah. Do it real fast there.
Looks like Aku's done with this grinder, right? He's past the grind spot?
Yeah, he is past the grind spot. I guess he's happy with what levels he's got, and is just gonna push onward. I admit that I don't have the numbers memorized. I know that some of our runners do have memorized, you know, exactly how much TP, how much XP, and so on that you get from basically the rest of Ocean Palace. So you can, you know, be real careful.
Most of these fights are unrunawayable.
Yeah, most of them you've got to finish them out, and of course you have that other boss fight as well. So yeah, some of our runners, I don't know if Aku's one of them, but some will have it memorized. Like, okay, well I only need to get to, you know, whatever it is, 300 less than my last tech, and then I'll get it by Lavos, and that's good enough. It does look like Aku is fairly high level.
You need that last tech.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of the time you don't. I guess in this case, it's Ice 2, and probably Aku would prefer to have it. Mirshana saying that she's not there yet, but that at the grind spot... Oh, never mind, I'm misunderstanding what she's saying. She's saying it's about 2 to 3 levels post the grind spot.
Assuming you leave there at like 28, 29-ish, because levels, the cost goes up with each level.
It's true. I'm not sure they go up by quite enough that it makes that much of a difference. Probably 27 to 30 or 30 to 33 is about the same. Maybe it's 30 to 32 kind of thing, but...
Right.
Yeah, Aku's saying exactly. Even at level 30, it's about 2 levels. Do either of you remember by any chance how many tech points it is after the grind spot? I always feel like that's often the more important thing. If you need the... Yeah, not at all. Okay, fair enough. I'm sure somebody knows, but...
You leave when you're happy with your techs and a good enough level for your skill set and what you think your party can do.
Exactly. Yep.
And the gear rando plays a big part into how little levels you really need from there. If you got a really great gear, you might not need to grind all the way up.
Yeah, it's true. You know, if you're getting... You know, I've seen one of our races in this, I don't know if it meant less grinding, but someone made great use of I think it was actually a Star Sword Plus, but it actually rolled the Crisis effect, and made some great use of that, getting really great damage out of Confuse and out of Chrono's regular attacks because of that Crisis effect that you obviously only get on Chrono with Gear Rando on.
Anytime you can get ×9 on your damage, it's like, well, I'm pretty much set.
Yeah. Oh, and Aku's pointing out in chat that Boss Rando will change what? Experience point and TP you get at the twin boss spot, so it's actually not a fixed amount of XP and TP with Boss Rando on.
Oh, so with Boss Rando, you should definitely be sure you're happy with your tech setup before you head out that grind spot.
Yeah, or at least make sure that everything but the twin boss, you know, all the stuff that isn't randomized will get you what you want. But
True.
I think a lot of runners sort of figure out, okay, I usually do all right if I'm level 27 or if I'm level 30 or whatever their threshold is, you know, just from practice. You know, try leaving at 25, see if it works. It doesn't. You know, go load that save again, grind up to 27, see if it works, whatever. So. And looks like Aku is having a slow time of this fight on the elevator. This one's a little bit annoying because it has, of course, all 3 types of scouters that can only take damage from one element of magic and absorb and counterattack to the other ones. Aku's through it now. We'll often see runners do some very different strategies there. We'll see Frog using Frog Squash, Ayla using Dino Tail. Actually, Magus's technique Black Hole, as we've changed it in Jets, can take out 4 of them. But sometimes you just gotta brute force it.
Black Hole won't trigger the elemental counterattack then either?
Yeah, so the way it's been changed in Jets, actually, so obviously in vanilla it's like an instant death effect or something, and that doesn't really matter, but in Jets as of beta, it is an AoE centered on Magus, and it does non-elemental damage. So that won't trigger the effects because it's non-elemental. They will counterattack other elements, but not non-elemental magic. It's the same reason that Frog Squash and Dino Tail will work, is because they're non-elemental damage.
Ayla's Tailspin work then too?
Yes, I do think that Tailspin can do some decent damage there, and that does also Nor defense.
Right, and that's just in a pinch, you know, because hopefully by then you'll have your Dino Full.
Yeah, of course.
Last tech against the other.
Yeah.
The duplicate fight on double Dalton.
Double Dalton. Yes.
Oh,
yes, and that is actually possible again. In the 3-1 boss rando, this wasn't possible because it was just too hard, basically. You know, his script was such that he would basically wipe you out if you if you got double Dalton here. But with the new boss rando, the scaling is a little bit more nuanced, and so it is possible to run into a double Dalton here. He's still a challenge, but yeah.
how much trouble these Daltons give him as Mirshana's dealing with these chains. No charms today.
Yep, no one picked up Ayla for this one, but I'm gonna go look at what they would have got. Now I'm curious.
Speed taps plus.
No, it looks like it's power taps actually, so you know it might have been nice to.
If you were running with Ayla on the party, you grabbed a couple speed taps definitely would not have hurt. Her whole kit was physical.
Yeah, definitely, and those power taps did roll +4 in this steed, which is pretty nice. It looks like Aku is already done with double Dalton plus. Or no, is it just one? It's just one that's down, okay. Nonetheless, looks like it's going pretty smoothly, and he'll probably be finished here relatively soon.
Yeah, and that animation is because that's his Dalton plus death animation, right?
Yes, he, you know, tries to summon Golem Boss, who, in vanilla, has already been defeated by, by its Sphere of Heights, basically. Next to the calculator, I don't know if there is a video for the old Double Dalton encounter. I think that got removed while 3-1 was still in testing, actually, just because it was enough of a challenge, so that would have really only been seen when it was, you know, not actually being actively used. In 3-1.
Which was doing some beta testing. He might have it on an airstream somewhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't know exactly where that was.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, it's a little bit before my time, but it might be somewhere. I don't know, maybe someone knows. In 3-1, what would happen, actually, if Dalton rolled for this spot, there was a rare thing that would come up, which is that you'd actually get a 2-part boss in this spot. The old boss rando didn't shuffle everything together. It was all of the 1-spot bosses, and this counted as a 1-spot boss, and all of the 2-spot bosses shuffled among themselves. So if you rolled double Dalton here, you could actually get, like, a Lava Spawn or a Terra Mutant here. You just get one, but you could get that. This is also the source of one of our more notorious bugs. During last year's fall tournament, there was a bug in place that actually meant that this spot rolled 2 Lavos shells, just the shells, and you had to use Tailspin, I think was the only strategy anyone could figure out to get rid of them. But luckily that got fixed pretty quickly as well, of course.
Because Tailspin won't trigger the counterattack, that makes it impossible.
Yeah, so it still triggers the counterattack, but the thing that Tailspin does is that it ignores defense. So you could do actual meaningful damage to them at all with Tailspin, but you still had to eat all the counters. So, as I recall, actually, both runners stopped for then and we redid the match, but both runners actually finished it by going and getting Tailspin. I don't remember if they had to pick up Ayla and then get it, or if they just had to level up Ayla, but then they would just have Ayla attack, the other two would heal Ayla back up, Ayla would attack with Tailspin, so on. So, yep. Here's Mirshana working on taking out our Chrono Magus here.
Should be a pretty quick fight.
Yeah, we do see that she's using Magus's Magic Wall technique in order to get a little bit more defense in place. Might help her to not have to do quite as much healing, or to be able to take Luminaire if it does get to that stage. We'll see how that plays out. Here is Aku running on to Lavos. There.
We're in the end game now.
Indeed.
I always find it weird that the Ruby Knife like just transforms into Master Mian right there, and also it's 2 weird sprite baby creatures But I don't question it. Not to question it. It's still an amazing game.
Yep. No, and actually, the Masamune being able to be used there is a trick. It's a jet-specific thing. I believe in vanilla you always use the ruby knife there. But the other fun thing is that the ruby knife actually is the Masamune. That's the original blade that gets turned into the Masamune in vanilla. So ultimately, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, but it's still Masa and Mune put together, and they turn into a weapon.
Yeah, you know.
It's good lore.
It is. Yep. And yeah, that is our Jets change. You don't have to have the ruby knife if you've gone through Magus's castle, which is basically because it would be way too much of a pain, and no one would ever do Magus's castle if you had to get that much stuff. Ouch, Aku has been hit with Obstacle, which is Stop, and all 3 of his characters are stopped.
He did not bother to get an amulet, huh?
Yeah, it looks like.
The one sitting on Magus from the beginning.
Yep, looks like he is resetting out now, and probably, probably about to put an amulet on. Or...
To redo the... Oh, no.
Or not,
Save
no.
after the Dalton Plus. Okay.
Yeah, he did save after that. Looks like he's just running straight back in. So, we'll see how that goes for him. But...
He has an amulet. At least one.
yeah, he's got to have one.
Yeah, in chat, like, what?
It's a bold strategy. We'll see if it pays off. Or something.
I'm not crazy, right? Magus starts with an amulet.
Yes, he does start with an amulet. It's in his starting gear, so Aku definitely has one that he could be using here. And Mirshana is done with Chrono here. Aku's saying it's equipped, so not where he can easily see it. Which I think is the excuse for not bringing it in.
Out of sight, out of mind. He hasn't touched Magus in a long time.
Yes. Using Lifeline. That's honestly probably a pretty good way to do that. Even if he does get stopped here on all of his characters, once they die, they'll come back, and they'll probably not have stop on them once they go down. So, that's a interesting choice of way to handle that. Probably not the most efficient, but,
Well, again, he only has the one amulet, so even if he did that, he's only got the one character up.
It's true, though if he did have one character up, he probably has some heals, and he would be able to use those to get rid of stop on the other 2 characters.
Heal gets rid of stop?
Yes, it does. This
Is that a rando specific thing?
No, I don't believe it is. That's a Chrono Trigger specific thing. Usually it's Final Fantasy that has the other way of doing it, where you have to like cast haste to get rid of slower stop, or there's a special item for it. But I believe in Chrono Trigger, heals will always get rid of all side effects.
Okay, and on Mirshana's side, we do see her pick up some amulets.
Yes.
We're trying to. They're quite expensive.
Yes, they do cost 50,000, but I imagine she will be pleased in a minute here. Yeah, as we watch everyone get stopped again on Aku's side, and this time Chrono comes back up without stop, and see how that plays out. Looks like Mirshana did get at least one amulet, which should give her 2 characters protected from stop, which is probably a pretty good place to be here. I don't know if she'll buy a 3rd one, but she does have that prism specs, which I don't think I saw her pick up, but I believe there's one on Mount Woe. So my guess is that she'll maybe just try for... No, maybe she's getting a 3rd amulet. No, anyway, my guess is that 2 amulets and a prism specs is going to be the strategy for Lavos here.
Yeah, because you want someone dishing out the heavy damage.
Yeah, definitely. with this party, I suspect it's going to be Chrono. Just that Confuse is going to be valuable, and that also goes into Ice Sword 2, if that's being used. The other option would be Marl if you want to use Ice Sword 2 and Ice Tackle, I guess. And Mirshana is definitely making up some time here as Aku's struggling a bit with Obstacle and all of that here, and now he's once again to a point where all of his alive characters are stopped, so...
I am very tempted to ask the outcome of the race at this point, but I'm gonna hold off. We're at a very exciting point. It's like, will Aku's bullheadedness cost him the race?
We shall see. And gosh, I don't know if he's about to wipe again here, or what. Nope, just enough. 189 out of 180 damage.
Aku with the triple tech hype. I guess that's his plan, is to keep going with the
lifeline strategy. It definitely did work well initially there. I think that if he really wants it to work, what he needs to do... Oh, he's putting a Green Dream on Marl there as well, so that's the same effect as Lifeline.
They don't stack though, right?
They don't stack, but it will mean that once the Lifeline's gone away once, I believe that then the Green Dream will do it a second time. So if he can't get Lifeline back up, it means that Marl will be able to revive herself twice, which at least gives him an extra person, probably. We saw in that last fight that he was sort of only having one person up, because only one person would go down from the initial thing. As I'm watching this, I'm sitting here thinking, well, after Lifeline goes off, someone gets up, you need to throw those heals out as quickly as possible and then get Lifeline back. We'll see if that's what Aku goes for, though.
Yeah.
And I looked down for a second and Mirshana's through that single golem spot.
Yeah, she's making quick work of Ocean Palace here.
Yep.
Who's on it.
Yeah, I'm sure that Mirshana feels behind at this point. Past 2 hours, and you've only just gotten to Ocean Palace. And Aku's your opponent. I'm sure you're sitting there going, like, he's probably at Lavos, which, as it happens, he is.
Yeah, I wonder how much grinding she'll do here.
Yeah. Possible, yep, she's just gonna go straight on. Both of these runners did go through Mount Woe and did a lot of checks, so it makes sense that they're just going as quickly through this as they can.
Fight here on Aku's side. Is that... Oh! Marl's still up.
Yep, looks like Aku is using that life too to try to get some people back up, and maybe make it a little bit further through here. But he's now stopped again.
Oh. Yeah, Lavos can cast Obstacle a couple times in that fight, huh?
And here's Mirshana hitting the elevator. One thing I was going to mention earlier but didn't get to, you're asking about tailspin for the elevator. Actually, tailspin, or especially Fire Whirl between Ayla and Luca, which is sort of the better one, is actually often used on the elevator for one of the earlier fights, because there's that Barghest enemy that has like a shield that needs to be broken first. Using tailspin for that, since it ignores defense, can mean you take that down in a single attack instead of having to do a few extra attacks. So another use of tailspin there. Aku is letting himself die to Lavos here, and presumably will come back and crash the Epic in to go directly to Lavos 2. Kind of a long cutscene here, but if you think you're not going to be able to get through Lavos 1,
I don't think I've seen that play in a race.
Yeah, it comes up occasionally. You know, it's really... I mean, often it is obstacle problems that will do that. Lavos 2 will also cast Obstacle, but often I think it's a little bit easier to get through that. Lavos 1 casts a little bit more, so if you think you're just not really going to make it through Lavos 1, you might let that go. You've got to suck the... you got to lose that time, of course, but...
Yeah, after banging your head against Lavos 1 3 times, it's like, well, cutscene, skip.
Yep.
And it is a pretty cutscene, like, you know, kudos to the original development team.
Indeed.
It's very cinematic for 16 bits.
It is.
So yeah, this is him taking the epoch to 1999.
Yes. That is the idea. Yep, once you've lost to Lavos once, that's when the randomizer unlocks the 1999 time period, and then you go crash it into there, and takes you right in. When you do this route, you don't have a save point inside Lavos, is one detail. After you've crashed it in, no more save points. So I didn't actually see if Aku saved before he went through this cutscene, but usually what you have to do is... Yeah, it's possible.
Inside Lavos is very strange. He's got like this whole green glowing river and some rocks. It's like, what are you eating, man? And I remembered, oh, he's eating a planet, so it makes sense.
Yes, Aku saying in chat, why isn't Mirshana done yet? I'm guessing is a channeling his feelings from when he was here in the race last week. Looks like Mirshana is not trying for those scout skips at all. They're a little bit finicky. You have to kind of sneak behind them and then run out in sort of a special way so that you can get out quickly enough, and just running can be faster. So.
Okay, so yeah, you could lose time from trying as opposed to just not trying and running away.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. It's not going to be a significant amount of time, but you could get behind them and not successfully hit the switch, and then they get you into battle, it pulls you down to the bottom, and then you have to run back up. So it's not going to be a significant amount of time, but, you know. Mirshana's just saying it's because she's new, which I think is also a valid thing. If you know you're not going to get it, may as well just do the thing you know how to do, right?
She's come up here on the double Dalton plus.
Yes. That last save point before Dalton Plus, and we'll see how she does with it.
I mean, right now it's Aku's game to lose. He's in the final fight. If he powers through, it's GG's, and that's it. But if there's any, you know what? I'm not gonna say too much more because I don't ruin anything. Commentators curse and whatnot, but yeah.
Oh. There's another stop on everyone for Aku there, so,
Just get it, some ambulance!
You've got an amulet! We'll see, I did not see if he put up Lifeline here before going into this fight. He's gonna really lose a lot of time if he hadn't done that, because then he could... Yep, oh, right, he's got that green dream. Yeah. So, it was not the Lifeline, but he did have a way to get through there, and looks to be raising, and hopefully we'll be able to keep things going here.
It wasn't the Lifeline, but it was a Lifeline.
It was a Lifeline, exactly. Mirshana using a couple of final tabs here before running into double Dalton. And here's the Lifeline on Aku's side, which will give him some good protection if he does get hit with that obstacle again.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Lavos 1 and 2's. Like, how many times can they actually cast obstacles? Is it random? Oh, it just happened.
I think that it is somewhat at random. I know that Lavos 3 has a pretty strict script, but these ones I think cycle through sort of the similar things pretty rapidly.
Aku's saying Lavos 2 does it once, but that was just the second time.
Yeah, he's definitely used it at least twice right now, so... Yeah, I don't know the exact script there. Let me look real quick. We have a document that might have that information in it.
Extra of Google Docs.
Yes. Yes, Sudor put together a commentator talking points document that I think we haven't broadly shared, but it does say some of this stuff. So, let's see. Yeah, so it looks like Lavos 2 has a cycle that has obstacle at the start of it. So it's after the arms are dead, it has a script that goes through obstacle, then Shadow Slay, then Flame Battle, and then Shadow Doom Blaze. And then it does nothing for a little while and goes back to the start of the script. After boosting its own attack power, according to this. So...
Okay, so it becomes a damage race.
Yeah. Usually in these runs we don't see people... Usually you're trying to kill Lavos 2 before you even see Shadow Doomblaze, which is the end of that initial script, because it's pretty harsh, non-elemental magic, so you can't use any absorption or anything, and it's a lot of damage, but Lifeline will take you through it, and bring you back to first. Actually, I think that Shadow Doomblaze might have been what took out all three of Aku's characters there, that the Green Dream brought him back up from. And Mirshana is done with Dalton Plus. Just as Aku is starting Lavos 3. Well, I'm sure most of our viewers are familiar, but with Lavos 3, there's sort of two main strategies. You go for the left bit, which absorbs magic, but if you hit it with physical, you can take it down. It has a little bit lower HP. Or you go for the center bit, which can take damage from everything, and also is the thing that does some of the nastier stuff that Lavos 3 is able to do. Once you've taken down one or the other or both, the right bit, which is actually the target in this battle, will drop its defense after a little bit, and then that's when you can start doing whatever way you're going to deal damage to that. But if you take out the center bit, then you don't want to hit both the right and left bits at the same time, because they'll do a nasty counterattack. So
An X-Strike Plus.
yeah, exactly. So you'll definitely see different runners sort of taking different strategies here. You know, if you've only really got good spread damage, then you might want to take out left bit, because otherwise you're going to get hit with that X strike repeatedly. If you've got good single target damage, then you might head for the center bit first, because it can be a little bit easier to take out since it can be hurt from magic, and then just wail on the right bit until it comes back. The other thing you'll very occasionally see is actually kind of a split strategy, where you'll see people put a little bit of damage onto both of them, then take one out. And the trick there is that eventually the right bit will revive whatever's down. And if you've put a little bit of damage on both bits, then when it comes back, you can start attacking the one you've already put some damage on and get the next cycle quicker. So.
Okay, so if you have enough for basically both strategies, you just cycle them.
Yeah, and it gives you just a slightly quicker damage there. And we're seeing what Aku's doing here right now is he's still attacking the right bit, because even after it's revived that center bit, it keeps its defense low for a little bit longer before it puts that defense back up, and you have to take out a bit again.
Okay, but now he's focused back on the middle bit as Mirshana's in her Lavos 1 fight.
Yes.
Not gonna be bothered with that obstacle, because got all those amulets.
He's got those amulets, and probably has some heals, so if one person does get hit with stop, she'll probably be able to use somebody to pull him out of that. Looking at Aku's screen here right now, the script that it's on is one that does several kind of nasty attacks in sequence. The background is what shows you that. In a little bit here, if he doesn't take out center bit, it's going to cast a thing called Grand Stone, which is a bunch of non-elemental damage, can be pretty nasty. Guessing he will probably take out the center bit quite shortly here, though. Oh, or we'll get hit with this.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Yep. There's that obstacle.
Oh, okay. Oh, but yeah, I'll have relays on.
Yep, Aku definitely making good use of the Green Dream and Lifeline and so on here to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Mirshana is, meanwhile, through Lavos 1. As you were commenting there, Chrono was the only one who ended up with stop, and I think that it was close enough to done already that Mirshana knew she could just power on through, and
she does get that handy-dandy save point.
Yes, she does. She does get that, and can use a shelter here, and doesn't have to sit through that big cutscene. Aku's definitely still ahead, but 2 characters down is kind of a rough spot to be in here.
Yeah. Chrono has life, which, it's not gonna really help you. You just gotta just revive him or power through. Looks like
Yep.
Aku's trying to power through here.
Yeah, he could still try to revive now. Now that he's taken out the center bit, there's a little bit less that Lavos can do to hurt him. So he might try to revive now while he's waiting for that defense to shut off, as we're now seeing. And then he'll be able to do a little bit more damage, hopefully.
Yeah. Tomorrow getting enough MP to cast life through on Robo, we'll have the whole team back up.
Yeah, and he'll have lost a little bit of potential to do damage on the right bit here while its defense is down, but it's a pretty safe time, other than for speed purposes you really want to be dealing damage. So, probably see him start doing some more damage here soon. The defense will still be down for a little bit, so he might be able to get in a little bit of damage on the right bit there, even though he's been doing a bunch of healing.
Right, even though that middle bit was down, it's, like you said, there's still a window after he comes back and use. Get a whale in or two, but see if he has the time for it.
Yep.
Oh, yep, he's going for it.
Going for it. It's off.
Mirshana's taking the arms off of Lavos too.
Yes. And GG Aku. So, it looks like I started that timer a little bit late, so I've just copy-pasted in the time there that was the official time from the race room. But, yes. Aku has won this one. And I'm going to swap our Aku over so we can do that.
GG's Aku.
Yes.
The hell of a race.
Yes, and Aku is actually already in our chat because he's the one who was doing our tracking. So if you want to do a little bit of an interview, we can do that as well. Hi, Aku.
Hey, guys.
So you were commenting sort of the whole way through, of course, but what were your sort of thoughts here?
One of my main thoughts was, why isn't she done, and why don't I have any protection? Please stop.
Yes, sounds about right. And I'm sure.
Yeah, sorry, I might have been a little harsh on you there during the commentary.
Then I decided I'm just gonna go through, get this alternate end scene.
Yep. And it did ultimately work out for you, as you'd already seen, of course, but you're seeing again here. But yeah, it's definitely remembering that amulet can be can definitely be helpful.
Yeah. And I always tell people, remember to use your safeties.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, you were talking about that in chat with Fritz, you know. Maybe it's only a little bit, but maybe you're gonna really need those mid-ethers. Maybe you're really gonna need that amulet. A lot of the times I think we'll see people pick up Magus even if they don't need him, just because it's like, oh well, free amulet. Not gonna use them after I take the amulet off of him, but why not?
Yeah, and that's a $50,000 piece of accessory.
Yeah, it's true. You know, if you decide you're good on protection, you got some helmets or prism dresses or whatever, such that you're able to do that, you might as well sell that and buy a Mega Elixir if you've got one at the new shop. So.
Yeah, it all depends on what go mode you get.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's true, especially with boss randomization. You know, you often don't need much status protection if you end up going Black Omen. Without boss randomization on, you're going to run into the mutants, so you're going to have Giga and Terra Mutant, and they both cast Obstacle. But with boss randomization on, those spots are randomized, so you can end up with effectively nothing there and not need an amulet.
Yeah, and I know the mutants will roll either lock or slow if you find them early in the seed.
Yeah, that's one of the newer things in the beta, is that if you get something that casts Obstacle earlier than where you have a guaranteed amulet, which is to say earlier than a new shop, they'll only roll slow or lock, which are the ones that are easiest to deal with. And they can still roll that later, but sometimes they roll stop, as we have seen. Mirshana here is doing the same basic strategy, going for center bit, and then putting some single target damage over there on right bit. Making sure to stay healed up pretty well here. Looks like the main strategy as far as dealing with whatever damage Lavos is going to throw in. We're seeing Mirshana using Black Hole here. So it's still dealing some pretty decent damage. You have to put Magus in exactly that position for it to be able to hit right bit in this fight. So Mirshana planned ahead a little bit there, made sure Magus was in the third position. That will deal more damage if one of your other party members is down, or if both of your other party members are down, it'll deal even more. But as we can see, 1400 damage, it's still pretty decent damage with everybody up.
Yeah, and then if you're, Magus is your last guy, but near the end, it's like, well, I can try to power through with Black Hole doing triple damage or whatever the multiplier is.
Yeah, I believe it is triple. I think you get double damage if one of your other party members is down, and you get triple damage if both of them are. So that can definitely be a clutch strategy. You're having trouble with Lavos 3 and 2 of your party members are down, but hey, Magus is there. Or, the same idea if you have a Doom Sickle or one of the other ultimate weapons that's rolled that Doom effect. Exactly the same thing, so you can get that
Doom
multiplication.
Bow on Chrono would be fun to watch.
Yeah, having that Doom Sword is definitely something that people have used a few times, and I think mostly in practice seeds. I don't know if we've seen it in the tournament. But here's the center bit coming back. Probably see a little bit more damage go onto right bit there. I believe with center bit up that Black Hole will also hit that, but I could be wrong about that. Looks like Mirshana is preferring Dark Matter instead, which also makes reasonable sense.
Just hit everyone and heal up after?
Yeah, well, and with the center bit not down, hitting the right bit won't cause the counter to go off. It's really only if the center bit is gone. And there is Mirshana also finished. Let me grab that time to copy in. 2:33:42 is what we got for...
That's still respectable.
That is, yeah, I mean, honestly, caught up a lot of time there, and went quite well. Put on a little bit of music for us. Well, we've got some time. Oh, hi, Mirshana. So, welcome in. What are your thoughts on this seed you ran a week ago?
This was one that just had me worried the whole time, because we had so many parts of go mode before we got a full go mode, and I was just, as I was sure I was behind Aku. So I was just trying to go as fast as I could. I kind of wish I had gotten that Omen go mode, because that would have been really interesting to see in this race here at the end.
Yeah, for sure. It would have... I think it would have made it a closer race by default. You know, it ended up pretty close, I think, because of Aku's struggles with stop there, and your pretty good execution at the same time. But with Omen, I think it would have been a really balanced race in terms of both people got go mode, but one person's got a faster go mode a little later. One person has a longer go mode a little bit earlier. Those are always...
What were the bosses on the others in that go mode?
That's a good question. Let me pull those up. So looks like Death Peak was Atropos, which isn't too bad, I think. Let's see. So Black Omen, the Giga Mutants. Go ahead.
You would have gone through Atropos really quickly.
Oh yeah. With
Yeah.
Confuse and Rocket Punch and Black Hole and yeah.
Yep. So it looks like amulets would have been relatively valuable there. The Giga Mutant spot has Terra Mutant in it, so would have needed that there. Terra Mutant spot had Guardian in it, which it's a little bit powered up there, so it could be a little bit annoying. Hardest one, possibly even, the Elder Spawn slot had Giga Gaia in it, so that could be a difficult one scaled up. Though Giga Gaia is already sort of set closer in level, so it wouldn't have been scaled up quite as much as maybe it could be.
Probably gone with Black Hole and Megavolt strats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds reasonable. But yeah, so
I definitely remember sitting in, going to the future, going through the trial and opening it up and being like, do I turn in the Moonstone or do I go to Sun Palace? Do I turn in the Moonstone or do I go to Sun Palace? Do I turn in the Moonstone or go to Sun Palace? And I was debating back and forth, and I should have just gone to the Sun Palace. Not that I could know that now, but...
yeah. Power of hindsight.
I figured it would be faster to just get the check done than some boss, could have been Dalton, could have been somebody annoying.
Yeah, and it was Mother Brain there, as you would have seen, so...
It's not so bad, but it's a little more annoying with Magus.
Yeah, it's true. It's not like it's Yakra, but it's not like it's Dalton,
Right.
basically. Yep. Well, been a fun watch here. Obviously, Aku was the one who moved on and has since done, I think, 2 other matches already. And we'll have another one probably sometime next week. I guess I will mention some of our other upcoming races. We have Mirshana actually going up against Chokasura. Tomorrow, right now, that's scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So stick around for that. We've got a restream set up for that. And then we have a few going into next week. I think we have Lord Batsy and Kuketsky on Tuesday, Imal N and Corinth on Wednesday, and Azure Kale and Zelfer on Friday. We may also see another match get scheduled in there. I know Aku and Smirk JD have a match to schedule, and the winners of Lord Batsy and Kuketsky and Chokasura and Mirshana will have a match to schedule as soon as those matches are done. So we'll have lots of stuff going on, and we hope to see you all there. Do we have any final thoughts here from our runners a week later?
Did you say where the
are going to be on Speed Gaming next week too?
Yes, that is the plan.
That's what I was about to ask, was if you said where it was being streamed at.
Yeah, so actually that is a very good point. The match tomorrow, so the one between Chokasura and Mirshana, that will be here on the Jets of Time channel, because Speed Gaming is still doing their big event. But next week, we're hoping that we'll be able to get everything onto one of the Speed Gaming channels, so check their schedule if you want to know exactly which channel that will be on. But somewhere there, hopefully, if we can't get a crew in time or there's issues on there, and there could be some on this channel, but bigger audience over there is definitely good to see. So, yep.
And also top 8 rules.
Yes, I did mention earlier about the increased difficulty of rule set, and that's what we'll start seeing. Choko and Mirshana's race and Lord Batsky and Kuketsky's race, those are still before top 8, but those are the last 2 ones that are not in top 8, and then we will be seeing that more difficult mode without the free menu glitch and with hard items turned on. So.
Did you guys even use the menu glitch? I didn't catch that in your final fights.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they both healed up or something in there. I think both of these runners were up to the standard of just kind of being able to get it. You know, the free menu glitch gives you a really big window. Yeah.
I feel like I've done it once without I've done a couple games without the free menu glitch, and I've gotten it, but definitely want to practice that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say make a save state before that and just practice with that save state.
Indeed. Well, all right. I think at this point we're probably at a good point to finish up for the night. Thank you everyone for coming by and watching. And if you're interested in playing this game, please look up our Discord. ctjot.com has a lot of our resources and is also the seed generator. That's for the 3.1 seed generator. But anyway, come join us in Discord. Come learn some stuff. We did a whole video series earlier this year that was called Camp Specchio. It's all about learning how to play this randomizer. Very welcoming community, and hope all of you will come if you'd like to learn how to play.
Yeah, and as a novice, I can confirm it's fun even if you don't know all the tricks.
Yes.
Absolutely agreed. I love this game so much. If you love Chrono Trigger, probably really like this Lancer.
Yeah, it's a great way to breathe new life into the game, getting new strategies, new ways of playing, all that. All right. Well, again, thank you all for watching, and I think we'll finish up for tonight, and we'll hopefully see many of you tomorrow night. Good night.